Good afternoon and welcome to the Mardyke Cricket Ground on this glorious sunny day. The southern capital with not a cloud in the sky on a lovely fresh afternoon. I'm here with Craig Senior and John Kenny to bring you the action from the Rario T20 Interprovincial Championship, which started this morning with a win for the Northwest Warriors, who beat the Munster Reds in fine fashion by 6 wickets. Chasing down 120 with ease. Now it's time for the second match in the series. It's the Northern Knights against the Leinster Lightning, and out there in the middle for us to do the toss is Mr. John Kenny.
Second match of the IP20 festival here at a gloriously sunny Mardyke, and we're out here in the middle for the toss. Referee Graham McCraig is with us, and our two captains as well, Tim Tector and Neil Rock. Tim, you have the coin. Heads is the call from Neil. It's a tails. You're going to have a bowl, Tim? Why?
I was looking at the first game there. There seems to be a little bit in the pitch early on, and hopefully with the weather that's in it today, it flattens out a bit for us second innings.
Did you take anything from the first match? What was your impressions?
Yeah, it seemed that if you just put that, you don't need to try too many of your traditional T20 skills. It's all about bowling your best ball, especially at the start of the innings. Hopefully we get the rewards from that.
Okay, any news in your team? Obviously there's a lot of changes with the internationals and the qualifiers coming up.
Yeah, Mike O'Reilly's sitting out today, and Fionn Hand's just getting a rest coming back from Lords.
Okay, well done, Tim. Neil, would you have done the same? Would you have had a ball?
Yeah, we would have bowled first as well, but at the same time it's T20 and the wicket shouldn't change too much, so we're not too worried.
Yeah, again, I suppose the same question to you. What did you get from the first match? What did you learn?
Not too much, to be honest. Probably a bit of a false representation of the pitch. It looked pretty good there at the end when the Warriors were batting. So no, other than that, not too much.
Okay. And your squad?
Jason Van der Merwe makes his night's debut.
Okay, well, good luck today now. That's Neil Rock and also Tim Tector, who has won the toss, and the Lightning will bowl.
So that's what happened just less than half an hour ago, and that's the Lightning getting their photos taken before this series gets underway for them on this fabulous day for cricket. The umpires walking to the middle. Same umpires as this morning, Paul Reynolds and Sam Hollingshead. But they've switched ends for this second match of the first day of this 3-day festival in the Mardyke. It'll be Paul Reynolds at the near end and Sam Hollingshead at the far end as the opening batters for the Northern Knights come to the wicket, followed by the Leinster Lightning team. The Leinster Lightning team, of course, showing many changes from the T50 version of the championship, with all of the Irish players, bar Barry McCarthy, out. Harry Tector, Lorcan Tucker, George Dockrell, Andrew Balbirnie, Josh Little, all out of the firing line for this series. And a chance for some younger players to come in: Seamus Lynch, Joey Carroll, Amish Sidhu and Adam Rossley. With me, Craig Senior, to start the commentary this afternoon. Good afternoon, Craig.
Good afternoon, Stephen. Well, after a thrilling game, low scoring, but thrilling game this morning. The other two sides in action now. Mark Donegan taking the gloves for the Leinster Lightning.
And opening the bowling will be Ross Adair from the CIYMS club. And it's Barry McCarthy to open for Leinster Lightning. Ireland international has decided he would like to play, get some overs in before making the journey to Zimbabwe for the 50 over World Cup qualifiers that begin next week. Irish team heading away on Friday. And with very much of a crosswind but slightly helping McCarthy, we're underway here, and straight away a lovely flick to backward square leg for a boundary, getting Ross Adair off the mark with a boundary.
Well, Ross Adair playing certainly to form. He's a big hitting batsman at the top of the order, and the Northern Knights will be looking for him. If he can get going, they'll be able to set an imposing total.
Well, this morning we saw a lightning start from the Munster Reds with their Dane smashing 14 off the opening over with 2 4s and a 6.
That's a fine bit of fielding there by Joey Carroll in the covers. Barry McCarthy just coming back from injury. His workload has been managed up until now. He took 3 for 14 in the Leinster Championship on Saturday. And he'll be looking to, well, just nudge the selectors of the starting 11 in that tournament in Zimbabwe.
Donegan and Tector very deep at wicket keeping and slip, as that one is dabbed down by Adair to backward point, no run. You wonder how much of the earlier match these players were watching, looking to see if they could get some little insights on how this pitch has played today. Same pitch this afternoon as we used this morning. Good delivery.
As surprised as we were with this morning's game when Shane Getgate won the toss and inserted Munster there, exactly the same as happened in the second game. Leinster Lightning winning the toss and deciding to field. As I said earlier, I feel it's a good way of being out there as a team together. Batsmen always isolated, at most working in pairs.
And Leinster Lightning, the kind of team that would fancy themselves to chase any total down. Quick ball from McCarthy, rising off a good length and beating the bat of Ross Adair.
This is encouraging from McCarthy, not just from a Leinster Lightning point of view, but with that World Cup qualifying tournament in mind. He'll certainly, I'm sure the team will certainly welcome him back. Combative, competitive. Loves nothing more than taking on batsmen.
And with that fresh breeze behind him, certainly good help from the elements. That's cracked away to third for a single. Reuben Wilson down there. Adair moves to 5 at the end of the first over and keeps the strike. 5 for no wicket after 1.
It's almost like he doesn't want Pretorius to play. He's taken the first 6, taken a single off the last ball, and he'll be facing the first bowling, Reuben Wilson from the Sunday Well End. A little less frantic than this morning's game, Stephen.
Yes, a bit like the kind of start you expect in a T20. Both batters having a good look. I'm sure Ruan Pretorius will have a good look at Wilson before he unleashes, unless of course the youngster throws him a few short ones that he can't afford to miss, but very much into the wind here for Wilson. A little bit short and tucked away to deep mid wicket to get Pretorius, or to get Adair on to 6. He kept the strike, of course, at the end of that first over, and that will bring Pretorius to the crease for the first time.
Well, the Leinster Lightning certainly missing a fair few of the Irish squad here, but it is giving people an opportunity to shine on the interprovincial stage. And if not making an immediate claim for promotion, they'll certainly be putting their names into the selectors' minds. That'll be the aim.
Reuben Wilson himself, one of the up-and-coming teenage generation. That's a good delivery. And very sharply on to the ball to ensure that Pretorius stays back in his crease. Yeah, it's a wonderful day for Joey Carroll and Seamus Lynch. And on the other side, a debut today for Finn Lutton from CSNI. Debut for the Northern Knights. We'll see him later. Very wide down the leg side, and that's a loose one from Wilson. The Northern Knights benefiting from that wild delivery.
Well, he's still a young lad, and he's trying extra hard in this delivery, and it's trying to put more pace on. That's caused him, he went a bit short. And although he was aiming to cramp the batsman, he went too far, and 5 wides is the total.
Takes the pressure off the batters. Pretorius got just enough on that. Little edge onto some part of his anatomy. Gets off the mark with a single.
Always a relief just to get off the mark. He'll be feeling a bit better for that.
Pardon me.
Rossiter, on the other hand, he'll be looking to take on Wilson, I have no doubt.
And he cracks it past the bowler. Sliding across is Seamus Lynch to keep it down to 1. Straight boundary here with the wind is about 67 yards to the Sunday's well end from where Ruin Pretorius is facing. It's quite a short boundary. We've already seen a few balls disappear in the opening match into the tennis courts behind us. Ooh, he didn't know much about that. Great delivery from Wilson. Screwing away off the outside edge of Pretorius's bat.
Wilson doing a fine job here. Very much a youngster, involved with the under-19s. But he played earlier in the season for the Leinster Lightning and impressed then as well. He'll be looking to do the same again.
That one's into the gap past mid-wicket. Greg Ford is there to keep it to 1. That's the end of the second over. 9 off it, including the 5 wides. Score after 2, 14 for no wicket. Adair on 7 and Pretorius on 2. Well, so good solid start.
Absolutely, it's exactly what the Northern Knights wanted. No wickets down, 2 overs gone. They've seen both of those bowlers now. McCarthy returning for a second. And this is where, in this morning's game, we started seeing a clatter of wickets falling, and it left the Munster Reds unable to set a imposing target. But the Northern Knights, well, they've kept the wickets in hand and still have managed to reach 14.
It's McCarthy to Pretorius. Driven solidly, but more into the ground than through it. And easily fielded by Greg Ford at mid-off. Tim Tector, the man in charge today, fielding at slip. As I was saying, with the wind behind, McCarthy generating a lot of pace, and wicketkeeper and slip are a good 25-30 yards back from the wickets. It was well played by Pretorius, just managed to roll his wrists and keep it down. Single to him, score moves to 15. It's a good batting lineup here for the Knights, the likes of Carmichael, Topping, Rock, Van Werkum, Tyrone Cohn.
Certainly bat a long way down, but that's, I suppose, part of the thing of T20 is you do need to be able to bat down because you do want everybody contributing, if they have to.
Straight to the fielder in the covers. No run. Good bowling from McCarthy.
Well, he's just moved deep square leg back to the boundary. You wonder, is it the bluff or the double bluff? Is he going to drop one short in the hope of enticing a dare?
6-3 field for McCarthy. And that one's just dab short, and Pretorius was scampering down the wicket, but wasn't tempting Ross Adair to leave his crease. McCarthy was quickly onto that. Almost a mix-up between the batters.
Well, Adair was adamant that he was going nowhere. Pretorius coming halfway down the track. Always the risk of a slip, as we saw in the first game. But this is a good over from McCarthy. He's generating a good pace here.
And just one off the over so far. And that's a fine delivery with lots of pace, plenty of lift off a good length, just back of a length. Very difficult for Ross Adair to get to that one.
Batsman and bowler exchanging pleasantries. Little smile between the two of them. Ross Adair still there.
Just 2 men out in this power play. Wilson is down at third, and there's a fielder at deep square leg. That's well saved by Donegan, who had to jump off his feet to reach that one. As Adair went for McCarthy but couldn't get near it. A fine over from the Ireland international. None for 6 from his 2 overs, and just 1 from that over. Fine effort.
Well, Barry McCarthy there, he's finding just the right length, and it's not enabling the batsman to get to the ball. It's just raising to that awkward height and flying through to the keeper. And a mention for Mark Donegan, because that was a fine stop of that last delivery. It was still rising as it reached the keeper, and he's, as Stephen said, is a good 25 yards back, and it was still rising.
Here comes Wilson for the 4th over. Just short of the mid-wicket. Pretorius didn't quite get a hold of that. Greg Ford quickly onto the loose ball. No run.
You can see that over from McCarthy having an effect now. Players are very aware there are only 20 overs, and when one goes for just 1 run, it immediately builds pressure.
Oh, cracking hit. Smashed away to wide mid-on for a 6. Now that's how you hit a cricket ball. Ruin Pretorius moves to 9.
Well, if you're looking to relieve the pressure, this is the shot to do it. My goodness, he got hold of this. Big swing of the arms. Wilson doesn't even really look to see where it's gone. He knew.
Plenty of width outside the off stump, and still he managed to pull it away to wide mid-on. Really quick hands from Pretorius there. All of a sudden he's got more than a runner ball. And that one was quite wide of the off stump and kept very low.
Often a useful thing to remember for the death overs, that if you can keep it inside that blue line but quite wide, it might stay low and keep it out of the batsman's reach. You wonder if the Northern Lights players, especially the bowlers, taking note of that. A way of picking up ironically, a cheap dot ball.
And there he goes again. This one against the net that saves the tennis players from being wiped out. Another 6 to Pretorius, who all of a sudden is the senior partner of this opening attack for the Northern Knights.
You can see here Wilson just leaving that one in the slot. It just allowed, once again, a full swing, full extension of the arms. And that one cracking into the netting here at the Sunday Wells end.
I can't emphasise enough how fresh the breeze is here, coming straight down the ground into Wilson's face. It makes it very difficult for a medium quick bowler charging into that breeze, especially somebody so young. And it gives the batter that feeling like he can smash it anywhere with the wind behind. And he goes for another one, but this time low outside the off stump. No run.
Well, whether by design or not, that ball that's slightly wider of the off stump and slower isn't rising. And Pretorius thought he'd seen the same one again to go for 6, but on this occasion it just didn't come up for him.
An expensive couple of overs for Wilson. And there's another one. At short boundary at mid-on. Stroke cow corner. Another 6 to Pretorius, who has cracked 18 off this over. The end of 4. It's suddenly 33 for no wicket. And the Knights in control.
Well, they're off to an absolute flyer, and it's courtesy of shots like this. Everything pulled over to the leg side. And that over was very symmetrical. 0-6, 0-6, 0-6. 18 off the over, and they've suddenly jumped from 15 to 33 for none of 4 overs.
And those 2 Wilson overs have gone for 27, which will, I'm sure, lead to a change of bowling at the Sunday's well end, but not before over number 5 will come down from Barry McCarthy from the Mardyke walk end. And all the while, Ross Adair has been standing there admiring the work of his teammate. He's on 6, 7. Pretorius on 21. Can McCarthy get the breakthrough and end this partnership? Good fielding at backward point, saving a run.
Seamus Lintz of the Clontarf Club. No. Sorry, my apologies. Adam Rossley doing the fine fielding there. Throwing himself down to the left.
He of the YMCA club, the same club as his skipper, Tim Tector. And also Reuben Wilson and several others associated with Leinster Lightning Cricket who are not here today due to international commitments. Nicely flicked off his hip and past the fielder at square leg for another boundary. Ross Adair getting in on the act.
Well, Ross Adair picked that one up beautifully. McCarthy just straying onto his legs, and he clipped it away beautifully. And it was Sam Harbison who made the desperate attempt in vain. So just drifting onto the leg side. And once he cleared the ring, he knew he was safe.
6-3 offside field for McCarthy. He can't afford to stray down the leg side. Still a slip in place. Tim Tector. Better ball. Nicely rising off a length.
Very well played by Adair. He got him right in line behind it and played it down. But a good answer from McCarthy. Previous ball going for 4. And he certainly seems to be a yard or 2 faster than anything else we've seen today so far, Stephen.
Very much so, and especially with that wind helping him. off his right shoulder. Sometimes it's veering across the pitch, sometimes behind the bowler from the far end. Oh, that's smashed away. Nobody at cover. Cracking shot from Rossadair. He moves to 15. The score to 41 for no wicket.
Well, this is the advantage of the power play for the batting side. Once you clear the ring, chances are, with only 2 fielders out, and in this case, 1 on the leg, 1 on the off. The 1 on the off being at third, he was never going to cut that off. Super shot, and the score rattling along.
Still in the 5th over, 41 for no wicket. And that's turned to backward square leg for a single. Adair to 16, 42 on the board. A more expensive over this for McCarthy, whose first 2 went for just 6, 9 off this over so far.
How your fortunes can change so very quickly.
I wouldn't say Leinster Lightning are desperate for a wicket, but it would certainly help their cause. As for the Knights, well, this is the start they would have dreamed of. Run rate of well over 8.5. Short ball, which Pretorius didn't quite see, and I think that ball might have come up and hit him on the helmet.
Certainly did, and the umpire immediately signalling to the sidelines. There'll have to be a helmet check as well as a player check. I think the player check's more important, but they'll check his helmet out as well. But yes, that rose up and rattled the cage.
So after 5 overs, 42 for no wicket. Pretorius unbowed on 21 off 13. Adair with 16 off 17. And McCarthy's figures looking a little bit less good after his 3rd over. Looks like Pretorius is okay.
As you predicted, Stephen, I think after Ruben Wilson's last over, there will be a change of bowling at this end, and it looks like it will be Sam Harbison coming on from the Sunday Wells end. Protocols all covered, checked.
Sam Harbison, who had a great game in his last 50 over match for Leinster Lightning, which was his debut for the province. Did really well with bat and ball on that occasion. Now having his first taste of T20 cricket for his new team. It's going to be Rossadair on strike on 16. Pretorius on 21. Marvellous start for the Knights. Can they keep it going? Just turned into mid-wicket where Wilson is the fielder. Just 1 run.
Well, Harbison will be pleased with that. He's getting that just to lift into the batsman, into his space. He's a little bit cramped, and all he could do was play it out on the leg side and take the single. And again, it's not the singles that the fielding team worries about. It's those big blows for 6s and 4s.
This is the last over of the power play. 2 out on the leg side, 1 at mid-on. And that's where this ball has gone. Nicely picked up by Seamus Lynch. Just a single for Pretorius. And the other fielder out at mid-wicket is Barry McCarthy. (5-4) offside field, but nobody out on the offside, and what a lifter that was.
Well,
Short run up, but what a follow through.
you could see in his delivery stride, he bent his back a little bit more and pushed that one into the pitch and got his reward. It lifted up over the batsman's swing, carries through to Donegan, and dot ball.
And the same again. Tremendous bowling.
He just seems to have found a similar length to what McCarthy had in his first 2 overs, where the batsman is swinging, but the ball is past him before he can connect.
He's the kind of bowler who really skids it through. Comes off the pitch really quick. And that one's found the gap through the offside. Cracking shot for 4 to extra cover. A boundary coming towards the end of this first Harbinson over.
Well, slightly fuller in length. Batsman gave himself room and then just punched it through the offside, found the gap. And once again, once it's through the ring in this power play, very little is going to stop it.
Last ball of the 6 over power play. And that will take the score to 49. A single for Rossiter, taking his score to 22. Pretorius on 22 as well. A tremendous opening partnership in the power play for the Knights. They moved to 49 for no wicket after 6. And after Craig, John Kenny will be taking over the microphone.
Oh, 49 for naught from the power play. Very definitely advantage Northern Knights. They've already seen Reuben Wilson out of the attack after that over that cost 18 runs with 3 sixes coming from it. So the Leicester Lightning, well, they're being posed a few problems now. It'll be interesting to see how Captain Tim Tector uses his resources, tries to make a change in this game. Welcome, John.
Yeah, it's contrast to the first game, really, isn't it? The Munster Reds. It just lost wickets at the wrong time, but never really got it going. Here's Barry McCarthy. It has been taken off. Now the Mardyke end. 3 overs, none for 15. It's Gavin Hoey who's coming on in his stead. Darren 22, run a ball. Pretorius 22 as well, but he's made them in a quicker time, just off 14. One shy of their 50. Hit Little Ubbershley into the leg side. That'll bring him up to 50 and only the 7th over. Good start. You compared that to Craig, the Munster Reds, who were struggling at this stage. A couple of wickets were down and they lost wickets at the wrong time. But this is a good platform.
They're certainly putting in an excellent base. And they have quite a long batting order as well. Strength in depth. So they'll be looking to certainly get more than the Munster Reds 120, that's for sure.
It's up and over cover. Extra cover and 1, 2, 3 bounces, rolls into the 10th. Not going to stop that. Didn't quite get all of that, but just enough on it to punch it over the infield, Tim Tector's head, and all the way to the boundary. Good shot from Rossiter, or for Reuben Pretorius, I should say. And that scoreboard keeps ticking over.
Lovely inside-out shot, bringing forward its reward.
This time all along the ground. There is cover down there. So going to cut off the 4, run through for 2. That's expensive over so far. Just a couple of deliveries from it, and already he's gone for 7. What a beautiful setting it is down here. Oh, that's a mistake. He's gone straight through backward point's hands. And he's nobody to reproach but himself, Tim Tector. That's not Tim Tector, my apologies. But should have been stopped at backward point. It went straight through his hands. And I know the Leinster Lightning are a lot of them inexperienced players, but that should have been stopped.
Well, again, heartening to see the batsman taking the first one so quickly at the hope of looking for a second, but on this occasion the fielding restricting them to that single.
There is somebody down there, and that should be out. Straight down the throat of Long On. And Adair perishes at the end of the 7th over. They needed the breakthrough. It took them 61 runs to get there to the end of the 7th over. And finally the breakthrough. The changes worked. Hoey took a bit of tap in that before it pumped down the ground from Adair, but he was caught at Long On. And it's 61 for 1 now at the end of 7.
Well, Ross Adair will be disappointed in himself.
It's Adair, my apologies, it's Adair.
Hoey tossing this one up. Just taking it to the leg side. Fielder in the shadow. Hard to see maybe, but either way, there wasn't enough power in the shot to clear the fielder. And finally, the Leinster Lightning have a breakthrough, and it's Gavin Hoey who's given it to them. And it's Ross Adair who returns to the shed with 23 to his name, but safe in the knowledge that they've put together a good start.
Yeah, Adair caught Sidhu bowled Hoey for 23 from just 24 deliveries. Good platform. Ruben Torres is still there. .31 minutes, 4 fours, no sixes. Good strike rate, nearly 100.
Well, that's Sam Harbison to continue from the Sunday Wells end.
It's Cade Carmichael is out there wearing number 8. Yeah, new batsman, Cade Carmichael. To join Pretorius. So can they turn 2 or 1 into 2 and 2s into 3s? That'll be the urgings now of the Leinster Lightning side. Much change side with our internationals all getting ready for the trip to Zimbabwe later this month. World Cup qualifiers. And that has reached the boundary. That's 4-leg byes. Fortuitous. They'll swing across the line, but they'll take them.
Well, you see here, Harbison gets him squared up. Missing the bat, hitting the body. It looked a little high first time we're watching. As a result, just flew away for 4.
Much more conventional kind of shot. Straight to the fielder though. Just a little wind sweeping across the ground, but not a cloud in the sky. We're set fair for the next 3 days as well. We've got 2 more games tomorrow and 2 on Thursday as well. Warriors have started off well, beating the Munster Reds in the first game. And that's cracked away. There's a man down there, but they won't stop that. Flat 6. Paul Reynolds raises his hands to the air. And Pretorius, having now seen the dismissal of Ross Adair, assumes the senior party in this partnership. And that was a very well hit flat 6 and to the longest part of the ground as well.
Well, he saw that one was in the slot very early. Took it on. And although there are 2 fielders out in that vicinity, neither one of them was going to cut that off. Flying to the boundary. And Miran Pretorius, 39 from just 21. He's a major reason that run rate out is near 9.5 and over.
Oh, slightly unfortunate. I think that hit the stumps. Yeah, it did. Ricocheted away. Pick up a single. And Lightning have internationals in their squad. Lorcan Tucker, the wicketkeeper, the Irish wicketkeeper as well. Harry Tector, George Dockrow. Barry's playing today, Barry McCarthy. Josh Little just back from the IPL. Well, the Knights have the 2 internationals and their market there. What a score he put together from the second innings against England. Very impressive. Let's hope he can bring that forward and make more runs for Ireland to add to his bowling prowess, and also Paul Sterling as well, who's not here. They're heading to Zimbabwe shortly. 18th of June is when the first match is on in that World Cup qualification campaign in Harare in Zimbabwe. 19th of June, Ireland's first match against Oman. Then they got Scotland, Sri Lanka, the UAE, all to come. Top 3 teams from those 5 will then be whittled down to compete in the top, or Super 6 as they know it. And then from that, it'll be 2 finalists. I'm not sure if there's semis in that one, but it's definitely the top 2 will qualify for the World Cup. There's already 8 there, and because of the ICC's insistence that there'll only be 10 teams in the World Cup finals for men, just 2 more can qualify. Ireland tried to do it in the World League, but fell short in that, although they got some valuable experience against some of the top sides. Great series against New Zealand and also against England, so they had some victories in that, but not enough to get them through. End of the 8th over anyway. It's 73 for 1.
Well, the Northern Knights remain the happier of the 2 teams despite the loss of Adair. Cade Carmichael hasn't seen much of the strikers yet, but Pretorius, well, he's flying. 40 off just 23 balls. He's hit a number of 6s to the leg side, and that's where his strength is so far, and it's working for him. Gavin Hoey to continue now from the Mardyke walk end. He's picked up the only wicket so far in his last over and his first over. Well, Hoey's brought mid off, long off and long on into mid, on and off, tempting the batsman to go over the top.
Oh, loud appeal. Not given. Sam Hollingshead is at the far end. Paul Reynolds at square leg. Irish umpire. Hollingshead, a English umpire, here on part of an exchange program to umpire in the interprovincials. Good comeback from Hoey. Got a wicket in the last over. He got a little bit of tap early on in that over, but stuck with it. A couple of decent balls now, a couple of dots. And this the second over. Give that plenty of flight. Pretorius' eyes lit up there. Annoyed himself, he got away with that, the bowler. Mark Dunnigan up to the stumps. Dispense with the slip. That's a very good comeback from Hoey. 4 dot balls now, compared to 12 in the first, and that shows you what a wicket can do.
Yes, taking that wicket certainly seems to have G'd Gavin Hoey up. Finding his line and length now.
Oh, what a shot that is. Room Pretorius picked that up from the leg side and then flipped it nonchalantly up and over the trees and down towards the Clare border. What a shot that was.
Absolutely super shot. Improvisation. Whether it was premeditated or whether he saw the
definitely
ball.
Premeditated that one.
He just middled it in reverse. 6 more runs and takes him on to 46. Also gives him a chance to go and change his gloves.
And down by the hedge looking for a new ball down there. The tennis courts are actually in behind there. One year somebody was telling me the story that they had to bowl from just one end because too many balls were actually going into the tennis area. So they have to be careful. There's a big net up there. Now, the net doesn't stretch as far as the tree. We can't see it in that shot. But I went straight through it. So hopefully there was nobody behind them on that particular occasion. But what a shot that was. I mean, that's completely premeditated. Down the leg side it was. And just whipped it away. It's hardly any backlift at all. 80 for 1. Should keep the strike. Might get back for the 2. No. Good fielding out there. Just to prevent the 2. End of the 9th. 82 for 1 now. Pretorius on 47. Carmichael on 1. Rossiter, the man, out for 23.
Well, as we approach the halfway mark, Northern Knights, well, they've scored 81 from 9 and over. So, taking that forward sort of suggests a score 180, but still with 9 wickets in hand, you get the feeling that the Northern Knights are going to want to accelerate even from 9 and over. Harbison coming into bowl his third. His first 2 went for 15. In fact, a change of bowling at the Sunday Wells end as Joey Carroll comes on. Part of the Leinster side that have a fabulous win at the weekend in the Irish Senior Cup, defeating CIYMS.
I see the holders of the Senior Cup and the National Cup both knocked out this weekend. Oops, that's in the air, and it's just flipped over everybody's head. Sweeper, just the slightest little juggle they're going to take on his hand, but that's good running. As soon as Pretorius saw the little juggle, off he went for the second run. Very well run to turn that 1 into 2.
So important in T20 that if you see an opportunity like that, that it's taken straight away. Just shows you're alert to the game all the time.
Oh, ricochet off the stumps, and that's going to cost them. It's going to cost them 2. That's sloppy. I was just about to say, oh, it's not. That is incredibly sloppy. That's 3 runs given away then when there should have been none. And that could be costly at the end of a tight game. Poor fielding that was. I know they hit the stumps, but I think it was a time to put the ball in the pocket, that one.
He was well home. There was no need to let go of the ball at that stage. And all it did was cost more runs.
50 for Pretorius. And he'll never get them an easier way. 51 from 30. Pretorius, 50 not out. He got 5 6s and 2 4s and a strike rate. Look at that, 170 in 43 minutes. Congratulations to him. Fine knock so far. Oh, shy of the stumps again. Carmichael testing the arm.
Did he choose the right end to go to there? The non-striker had taken a good lead and was very close to being in anyway. But Pretorius, he was trying to make it down to the non-striker's end.
And that's the man they want, really, isn't it?
It is.
So maybe a little doubt in the mind because of the previous overthrows. Out of the corner of your eye as well. You're obviously looking for somebody to back you up. Flat, whacked down to mid-wicket region. The man down there cuts it off.
Wilson doing the fielding in front of the pavilion. That was a nice, just controlled shot. Didn't try and overhit it. Just pushed it out on the leg side to the boundary at some speed.
Oh, it's in the air, and that should be out, or is it going to fall short? It's just short to descend upon it. A little hesitation there between the captain, Tim Tector, and his teammate, and in the end, it dropped between them, and the batter survives.
Well, no ball as well. Paul Reynolds signalling free hit. And that may have been the reason why it was allowed to drop to ground. There was certainly no call from either fielder.
So, free hit. Can't be out unless you run out. And he makes... Oh, there's a player down there, hidden by the... or camouflaged by the tree down there. And eventually gets out of that over with one more delivery, because that was a free hit and a free ball. Oh, that's in the air. It should be the wicketkeepers. He's standing right underneath it. Easy catch in the end. And that's the end of a fine knock from Pretorius. He sets things up nicely for his side. Second opener's gone at the end of the 10th over. 53 of 32 deliveries. Good stuff from Pretorius, but an easy catch in the end and a wicket for the Leinster Lightning, and a needed one too, because the opening two had put on 90 between them. Second wicket after the dismissal of Rossadair. Bowled Hoey for 23, but Pretorius caught by Dunnigan, bowled Carroll for 53.
Well, this one is dug in a bit. It takes the top edge, and once it went up, it was always the keeper's. He called for it, and he made sure. And Pretorius, well, he can be delighted. He got the half century, and himself and the partners have taken the score on to 90 for 2 at the halfway mark. And if they continue at this rate, and in fact with those 8 wickets in hand, with the chance to accelerate during these last 10 overs, we could be looking at 200 here.
Oh, it's definitely on the cards. Morgan Topping. New in, replacing Pretorius with the score on 90 for 2. The batsman crossed, or did they? No. So it will be Cade Carmichael to face the bowling. We've got a change of bowling as well too. It's like Sidhu's coming on. Yeah, Sidhu's coming on from the Mardyke walk end. Amish Sidhu. Left arm round the wicket. Diminutive little player. Sidhu. Fine cricketer though.
Well, he'll be looking to try and keep this a bit tidy. He's got 2 relatively new batsmen at the crease. Cade Carmichael has done a lot of watching as Pretorius was increasing his score. And he's been joined by Morgan Topping. Sidhu bowling to his field. Reuben Wilson out on the boundary there, doing fine work. Well, he just sort of slipped onto the legs of the batsman there and allowed them to take another 2 to the leg side boundary.
.24-year-old Topping squeezes that, and it's gone all the way to the boundary for 4. A loose delivery. Jumped on that. Topping made his T20 debut on the 19th of September 2021 for the Knights in the Interpros. Yeah, that was a nice shot from the right-hander. Shot the stumps again. Oh, wide. And I would suggest the way the fielder, Greg Ford, looked at that, and then he knew that the batsman was in trouble. And he didn't hit the stumps, and he was quite close in. He'd be very annoyed with that. I actually think he might have hurt his hand as well. There's the Northern Knights batting performance so far. Adair and Pretorius getting them off to a terrific start. 24 balls for 23, and Pretorius 53 from 33. Carmichael and Topping currently at the crease.
And 100 up for the Knights in 11 overs.
I'll try and get a look at those bowling figures for you now as well shortly. 100 up in the 11th over, as Craig says. Carroll to continue. 1 for 9 in his opening over. Cries of bowler. This time they decide not to shy at the stumps, and they run through for a relatively easy single in the end.
Well, again, it was a case of the non-striker watching the ball and seeing the single was on. Topping wasn't entirely sure where it had gone or how far it was gone, but he trusted his partner, and it ended up being quite an easy single for them.
One complaint that I've heard from some of the fielders out there is if they're on fielding out in the boundary that there's little dips and little hollows, and so the ball can bounce in front of them as well. So that can be difficult if you're coming in. So the suggestion is don't come in hard at the ball because it could rear up at you. Ooh, slower delivery. Fooled the batsman completely, trying to cut it. Hit it on the up. Topping deceived by that one.
Yeah, he thought he was going to be able to play it just down to third, but it was a little too close to him. He did well to drop his hands out of the way. So the same as the first game, where one team went off to an absolute flyer. You take a couple of wickets and it does peg the run rate back.
Yeah, well, a lot of these bowlers are bowling much tighter in their second over. Carroll went for 9 in this first. He's only conceded 1 in this one, the second. Hoey did something similar. Gone for 12 in his first 5 delivery of his opening over, and then took a wicket. Then things changed for him nicely in the second over as they got rid of the free scoring players at the top of the order. 102 for 2. That's in the air, and it's going a long way too. That's a lovely flick up on top of the canvas that houses the two teams down there. And that's a lovely shot down into the car park. Your car's not down there, is it?
No,
No,
I
that's
left mine
fine.
on the walk, and I feared for it earlier.
I think I'd rather get a ticket than a cricket ball through the windscreen. Is that right? Well, a beautiful shot there. Lovely pickup.
Just a freeing of the arms, and that must have gone, well, we reckon it's 61 yards to there, so to that boundary. So add another 10 onto that. Decent size hit in any ground.
Tap of the bat from Topping. He's been around a while. I think he's played since 2017 with the Interpros. I didn't see much of him, to be quite honest, playing with the Knights over the last couple of years. He was part of the under-19 squad as well. There's the bowling figures, incidentally.
Well, Gavin Hoey and Joey Carroll, they're the wicket takers. McCarthy was good up front, just 5 runs and over for his 3, but he couldn't make the breakthrough. But the bowler who suffered, Reuben Wilson, he had 1 over that went for 18. The other over went for 9. 12 extras, 109 for 2 off 12. And again, you can just sense that the Knights are going to want to push on now. Set an imposing total for this Leinster Lightning side to chase down.
A big contrast between this and the first match. Munster Reds all out for 120. Wow, that's big too. Watch out, Mrs. Doyle is coming your way. Up and over the trees in the Mardyke Walk area. New balls, please. Thumping shot from Topping. He's on to 21 from just 10.
Just a little bit too short, and that let Topping get underneath that, and that's where my car is parked.
Ah.
I may get the ticket and a new windscreen. But that was a fine shot.
Well, I was at an Interpro match a couple of years ago, just after COVID, and Kevin O'Brien smacked one into the car park down in Pembroke and put it straight through his own car windscreen. So that got a bit of news cast as well. Newspapers picked up the story, smacking the ball into his own car.
Well, the sponsors were delighted.
Yes, they were, because he took it to his garage and gave him a big plug. Down the track again, lovely up and over extra cover all the way to the boundary from 4. And he's dealing in boundaries now, Topping. 25 from 12. And they're racing away to this big target.
Well, again, it's just an exhibition of clean hitting here from Morgan Topping. Just came forward. Sidhu tried to push it wide of him, but all that did was change where the shot ended up. Didn't change the shot.
Again, down the track he goes to Sidhu. And he's liking the cut of his jib. Topping and Sidhu, he's taking him on. Carmichael 6 from his 7 deliveries thus far. He'll be hoping to get Topping on strike as much as he possibly can. Well, not with that ball. There's somebody down there. Out. Straight down the throat of the fielder. Picked a very long part of the field to try and clear Cade Carmichael. He's perished for 6, in fact, from his 7 deliveries. And the third wicket falls in the 13th over. 120 for 3 now.
Well, it's a bit disappointing for Carmichael. He'd actually been providing good support to Topping, and Topping, as I said, was hitting very cleanly. He decided to try and emulate him rather than just trying to get him back on Topping back on strike, and he didn't get all of it, and he chose probably the longest part of the ground. And that's a fine safe catch down there, and the Leinster Lightning, well, they've taken their 3rd wicket, but the score already at 120. Well, the Leinster Lightning just having a bit of a team talk, getting a drink of water. New batsman at the crease.
Now lefty. Cade Carmichael caught Lynch. Bowls Sidhu. Sidhu's first victim. "27 minutes. An awful long time just to face the 8 balls, so you could understand his frustration. He's felt the need to go big. Neil Rock, the captain of the Northern Knights, standing captain. Left-hander comes to the crease with the score 120 for 3. Dot ball, rare one in the context of this game. 120 for 3 now at the end of 13. Sidhu gets his man.
Well, the Leinster Lightning, they'll be delighted at taking a 3rd wicket. It brings a new batsman in. It might take him an over or 2 before he starts his assault. But at this stage, you'd have to say the Northern Knights have shown how to bat on this wicket. They have lost 3 wickets, but they've all been going for runs. There's the Manhattan. You can see plenty of tall skyscrapers there. 1 over going for 18. That 4th over by Reuben Wilson. And since then, even the overs that have taken wickets have gone for 10 runs or more. Joey Carroll to continue now from the Sunday Wells end. And we welcome back to the box Stephen Arkin.
Hi Craig, it's been wonderful watching this exhibition of hitting. That one just enough to clear the boundary, and the fielder there for another 6. That's Topping's third.
As I said earlier, I just didn't think there was any need for Carmichael to go for the massive shot. All he wanted to do was bring Topping back on strike, because he is hitting the ball so cleanly at the moment. None of these sixes have been mishits or top edges. He has really just used the face of the bat and gone down the ground on many occasions here.
Batting at well over 200 at the moment, Topping, and that's a beautiful straight drive. Just leant into that and caressed it to the boundary. Fine batting indeed. This man is in form.
Well, that possibly was the finest shot of the lot, and it seems a shame he only gets 4 runs for that, but he gets 6 runs for the other ones. But he continues on. He is motoring at the moment, and no sign of him stopping. I just feel all he needs at the moment, and I think Neil Rock, his captain, will be the right person to realise that just give as much of the strike to Topping as possible until, as long as he's going.
Joey Carroll under pressure here. 10 off the first 2 deliveries of the over. Just a single this time for Topping. Takes him to 37 off 16 deliveries. 131 for 3. It's looking very impressive. Off 13, 200 is definitely on here.
I think at this stage the Northern Knights will be disappointed if they don't reach 200. It's definitely a fine batting display. The 2 openers laid a perfect base, but since then Morgan Topping, well, he has shown just what clean hitting can do.
So this brings Neil Rock to face his first delivery from Carroll, and hit firmly into the covers. A little misfield there. Ground fielding from the Lightning today has not been perfect. So Rock gets off the mark with a single.
I think that's exactly what Topping needs. He doesn't need Rock chasing one or going for the big shot at the moment, and it takes all the pressure off Rock as well, because all he's looking for is to get down the other end and give Morgan Topping the strike, but it gives him a chance to see the bowling.
Barry McCarthy giving plenty of advice to Joey Carroll, and that one was short. Fortunately for the Lightning, they've got a man down there at deep backward, just a single. At this stage, singles are good.
Well, the Leicester Lightning would be delighted to see only a single.
Pretoria's hit 5 sixes in his 53, and so far Topping has 3 maximums in his 38. It's been a fantastic display of hitting here by the Northern Knights.
Last ball of the over now gives Rock freedom to actually swing his arms,
and he does so, cracking it over the net into the tennis courts. The shouts of "watch it!"
You could actually also hear that hit the fence on the far side of the tennis courts. That is a big shot, but as I said, it was the last ball of the over. The last thing Rock needed there was a single, so it gave him the freedom to go for the rope, and he found it beautifully.
2 sixes and a 4 off that over from Joey Carroll. The score moves to 139 for 3 with still 6 overs to go. Topping on 38, Rock on 7. And it's quite the mystery exactly what Tim Tector is going to do, captaining the Lightning today. Looks like he's bringing Gavin Hoey back into the attack. He went for 21 off his 2 overs so far.
Gavin Hoey, who got the first wicket for the Leinster Lightning. trying to get all the moisture off the ball.
6 overs to go. McCarthy has 1 left. Wilson, who was expensive, has 2 to go. Harbinson has 2 to go. This is Hoey's 3rd. And that's through the hands of the backward point for a boundary. Another 4 for Topping. Moves into the 40s.
Well, the amazing thing for Topping here is it's only taken him 18 balls to do so.
Of course, the perfect platform from the openers. Rossadair with 23, Pretorius with that fine 50. That was a better delivery. Pitched up better, catching Topping on the crease.
Hoey very good at varying his pace. Just push that one through a bit quicker. Now Topping will be waiting for it.
Very short, flat battered to backward square. 1 bounce over the ropes. Boundary number 4 to go with those 3 sixes. 4 fours, 3 sixes. Pretty good. That's why he's scoring at the rate he is.
Just a little too short. That gave him the freedom. Behind square on the leg side.
Could be that this wicket is playing easier in the afternoon, having dried out all day. Certainly this display of hitting by the Knights has put the other 2 sides to shame, Munster Reds and Northwest Warriors. Topping didn't quite get that one, but he gets the single down to long on, where Sidhu is the fielder. Quite the job for Tim Tector to set the field here. Just seems no matter where he puts the players, the ball's going to sail past them. And Rock turning that past the fielder just inside the circle. That was Barry McCarthy. First boundary. Second boundary for Neil Rock, adding to the 6 he got already. He moves to 11.
That was a lovely shot. He picked the line of it so quickly, got down and just paddled it round the corner with enough pace to beat McCarthy.
And there's the long hit straight down the ground, smashed over the trees onto Mardyke Walk. Mrs. Doyle is going to have quite a collection of cricket balls in her front garden very soon. What a performance by the Northern Knights. This is outstanding stuff.
Well, there may be something in what you said there about the wicket becoming easier and easier to bat on as the sun shines down on it and the wind drying it off. Perhaps it just goes to show that 120 for the Munster Reds was not enough, as the Northwest Warriors demonstrated in the second innings, but now we're seeing an innings of real totals.
These two have put on 38 in just 2 overs and 1 ball. Extraordinary stuff.
Now in this morning's match we had no figures like this, and these are all fine partnerships. Even when Carmichael only scored 3, Topping scored 26 and they put on 30. And that Manhattan, well, they're going to need planning permission for buildings that height.
Yep, they've had 2 magnificent overs, the Knights, and Tim Tector has turned to Sam Harbinson to try and stem, Simon Harbinson rather, to try and stem the flow of runs. There's a man out at deep third, so just a single for Topping that time.
There was an example, the throw-in from the boundary. You were talking earlier about the undulations across the ground, making it difficult for fielders to pick up. Well, that was a throw into the wicketkeeper that obviously caught one of those dents, flew up past Donegan.
Key here for the Knights, just 3 wickets down. 159 for 3, still nearly 5 overs to go. They can really have a go, these guys. And there's a lovely ball over the top by Rock. Just intentionally played over the wicketkeeper Mark Donegan for a boundary.
Intentional innovation. Cricket has changed now. All sorts of shots. And this is beautifully done. Rock picked it up on length and then just helped it on its way.
And this time he pulls it more conventionally to mid-wicket for a couple of runs.
I was saying earlier about Rock being able to watch from the other end, and yet he's scoring at over 300 now. But he did have that couple of overs just where he watched the bowling, watched chopping, accumulating runs at a fast rate, let him get on with it, and now he's decided to join the party.
And there he goes over the top towards the tennis courts. The net saves them this time, but it's another maximum for Neil Rock. This is wonderful stuff to watch unless you're a Leinster Lightning supporter or player. It's the kind of cricket we expected to see on a magnificent day in the Mardyke. It's not a very big ground. Straight boundary to this end is about 67 yards. And that should be a wide, and is called so by umpire Paul Reynolds. Partnership has gone to 52 off just 17 balls in 13 minutes. That is remarkable. And this time Rock with an inside edge down to fine leg, which gets away from Sidhu down there. Another boundary for the Knights.
Well,
Even their mishits are going for boundaries.
If ever there's an example of when things are running your way, well, you ride that train to the next station. Absolutely, it's superb. They are looking at a very large total here.
Run rate has gone to 11. Just didn't quite carry to Seamus Lynch in the covers. Just a single for Rock this time, who has galloped to 34. Look at that over. 5, 7, 13, 14, 18, 19 off that last Simon Harbinson over. His 3 have now cost 34.
Well, Stephen, in the face of such clean hitting, I mean, you can see here every bowler except McCarthy going for over 12, over 10 and over. It's carnage, but what would you do any differently? These are fine bowlers, but this is just such clean hitting. Leinster Lightning don't really seem to have an answer at the moment. Now, Ruben Wilson going to come back on from the Mardyke walk end, and he'll be hoping for a change of luck. His last 2 overs going for 27, and he must have felt pretty downcast about that when he came off, but having seen what's happened since, he may be feeling slightly better.
Rock is scoring at 340, 3.4. Absolutely extraordinary per ball. Topping at well over 2. In fact, Rock is catching Topping, who started like a train himself. This is some partnership. Third wicket fell at 120. These two have put on 57 in just over 3 overs. And an appeal there, reluctantly from Wilson and half-heartedly from Donegan.
I think Donegan's half-hearted appeal kicked off the bowler thing, asking and hoping rather than needing and wanting.
But whatever breeze there is helping Wilson, and I think that's a big help to him.
Well, he's a young lad,
flat pitch.
and he's certainly learned from this experience.
That's gone miles into the air. towards third, but it eludes the fielder. It was Greg Ford who was trying to get under it, and a couple of runs on the miscue from Rock. And for the Knights, everything is going their way.
It was up there a long time. Ford had to make up a good 20 yards there, but he couldn't quite set himself underneath it. And again, I think the breeze played to the Northern Knights' favour there. That's
Better ball from Wilson into the block hole. Really good delivery from a frustrated teenager who probably hasn't seen hitting like this in his career so far. Generally, he's on top when he's bowling.
Well, once again, showing the step up in class from club cricket to international. But this is a much better over for Wilson.
And that was a good length delivery, just a single for Rock, as the run rate plummets to 10.8, falling below 11 for the first time in a while.
Well, there's just 20 balls remaining now, and they're 20 short of 200. But at the rate they've been going, well, they'll be looking for more than just 200, as nice as that landmark is.
Change in the field here for Morgan Topping. 3 out deep on the leg side, 45 degrees on the 1, and just 3 saving a single on the offside. Smash straight down the ground, but it'll just be a single for Topping this time. It's a really good comeback over from Reuben Wilson. Let's hope he can finish it off.
Well, it seems the change of ends has certainly helped Reuben, and he's found a much better length, and the batsmen are finding it hard to get under his deliveries here, as they were earlier.
Rock on 37, Topping on 49. This one pulled away, backward of square. Deep man at mid-wicket, dives to save the boundary. Good fielding out there, just 2 runs.
That was a cracking piece of fielding. Made sure the boundary wasn't there. And not only that, but the return to the keeper right over the stumps from 60 yards away. That's a super throw. One of the few bright spots for the Leinster Lightning during this innings.
And a good comeback over there from Reuben Wilson, which went for just 6. Run rate 10.76 with 3 overs remaining. Topping on strike, just a run away from a wonderful half-century. And Rock probably having designs on that target as well. But this Leinster Lightning team could chase down anything. They've got a wonderful batting lineup. This game is by no means away from them. Good, well pitched up delivery from Harbinson. Just a single there for Topping, but he goes to his 50 on the back of 3 sixes and 4 fours, 5 fours. A really tremendous knock by him. Just 24 deliveries, and it took him just 32 minutes to get that fine 50.
It's been a fine display of clean hitting. Those 3 sixes, nothing has been lucky about this innings. That's a fine half-century for Topping.
Great play by Rock. If he can clear the fielder, which he has. The man at long leg, Gavin Hoey, just bounced over his head inside the rope, so a 4 this time for Rock, who moves into the 40s.
You can see Rock just flicking that one round the corner, getting it a bit more uppish than he wanted, but Gavin Hoey, he was in off the rope.
Harbinson right arm over to the left-hander, and again it's outside the leg stump, and it's smashed away by Rock, who races to 47 off just 17 deliveries. 192 for 3. Wonder why he doesn't go round the wicket.
Well, if he did, he fears he'd be feeding Rock's pull round to the leg side if he was coming across him like that. But yes, I understand what you mean. It's does he come round the wicket and just cramp up the batsman? But unfortunately, if he doesn't get it right...
That was better, but it's smashed straight down the ground by Neil Rock for a magnificent 50. 51 off 18 deliveries, 3 4s in a row, bringing up his half-century. And look at that strike rate, 283, 4 6s and 6 4s and 3 6s. A magnificent knock.
Well, they talk about captain's innings, and this is another example of how he's played. Full face and full power. And this time, no attempt to lift it, just played it along the carpet. 4 runs, nobody was going to stop that. And these two, well, they've got the Northern Knights now on the brink of that 200, and still with 14 balls to go.
Short ball, and it's cracked over Tector's head. 1 bounce 4. The sound off the bat it's like a bullet out of a gun.
Well, would it be a little ironic to say that perhaps Rockers, now he's reached his half century, decided to open up, having scored a half century off 18 balls?
And again he goes long and straight, and this time he carries all the way. Flat bat 6. 4 4s and a 6 off that over of consecutive deliveries. That is unbelievable hitting. 32 runs off his last 5 balls faced. Sorry, 22. My maths is shocking.
Well, as I said, since he reached that half century, he's decided to open up. He's now moved on to 61 off 20.
And there's the run rate.
Well above 10 now.
And the absolute key in this smashing innings by the Knights has been the fact that they started and had plenty of wickets in hand from the beginning. They've never been under pressure wicket-wise, and every batter who's come in has been free to build on what's gone before.
Well,
so here comes Wilson for his final over.
Carmichael, the only one not really to fire for the Northern Knights, and I felt that he just misread his own role there. He went for the big hit when really what he wanted to do was keep his partner on strike. His turn would have come, and that's how Neil Rock has gone about it.
They've passed the 200, topping with just a single. Brings Rock, the very dangerous Rock, on strike. The rock on which perhaps this Leinster Lightning effort has foundered, you might say. The man who plays his cricket with rush, perhaps out to show the Lightning a trick or two. That's smashed down the ground again. Is it all the way? Yes, it is. Another 6 for Neil Rock. I think we should call him Neil Armstrong and send him to the moon.
Well, he's not far off sending a couple of these deliveries that far. This one's staying inside the ground, but he's just got under that and lifted it, and another 6 onto the total. And at this stage, well, I know it won't happen, but you'd be tempted to declare. 213 for 3, and still 10 balls remaining. They could get to 230 at this rate.
That run rate, 11.62 now. Wilson trying his luck from around the wicket. Reduces Rock to the mere crumbles of a single after he's hit 4 4s and 2 6s in his last 6 scoring shots. That's practically a success for Wilson, getting him off strike.
Well, this has been some magnificent hitting, and for those of you who've tuned in, my goodness, haven't you chosen the right game to watch today?
Straight down the ground from Topping, who is very much playing the second fiddle to Neil Rock.
Yeah, he's only scoring at 200, 52 off 26, but it's a strange second fiddle.
310, I think, is that. 3.1 is that rate for Rock, which is extraordinary. He's back on strike here. That's about the only way you can stop him from hitting it, really. You can bowler wide.
Just going a bit too far wide. He was looking for the blue line. Neil Rock, well, he has the patience to wait anyway. He showed that early on in his innings. I think he scored one off his first 6, which makes this knock even more remarkable. Attempted slower ball.
Stretch for that one, managed to shovel it over cover and find the gap between the two fielders on the boundary. Another 4 for Neil Rock. 72 off 23. There's the partnership moving to 100 of 36 balls in less than half an hour.
106 overs.
Wow.
It shows what is possible in T20. And they're demonstrating it admirably.
And again, smashed over the deep mid-off fielder into the gardens
Onto
at
the
Mardyke Walk. Another 6 for Rock. Could he make a century?
Wow.
He's only 22 away now. 2 overs to go.
Bet against it. Clears that front foot. Swing at the bat, and you see this one, you can see it bouncing on the road and reappearing above the hedge again.
Oh dear. 226 for 3 off 19 overs, and just 20 off that last over from the hapless Reuben Wilson.
Well, what a card that is to read if you're a Northern Knights fan. Topping and Rock, well, they've built on the platform that was put there by Adair and Pretorius.
And as for the Leinster Lightning bowling, well, Harbinson and Wilson have bowled themselves out, but look at those runs per over rates. Not surprisingly, Barry McCarthy coming back on to bowl this last over from the Sunday's Well end. I think there might be a little bit of venom in these 6 deliveries.
Well, Barry was bowling at the top of the innings. He's kept this one over for the last over. There's a bit of frustration at having seen the Northern Knights accumulating this massive score. It'll be interesting to see how McCarthy goes about these last 6 deliveries.
Just 4 players inside the circle. 5 on the boundary, 3 on the offside, 2 on the leg. Here comes McCarthy to Topping. Final over. Full toss. Cracked into the gap and well fielded down there, but still 2 runs to Morgan Topping, who moves to 54. Keeps his rate going at 2 a ball. Century partnerships in T20 cricket, not very common. And this has been a wonderful effort from these 2 Northern Knights batsmen. Oh, paddled away and parried by Ford, who couldn't quite hang on. Made a good effort there to take the catch. It's a couple of runs to Topping. Well, at least he's keeping Rock off strike.
Yes, I think the Leinster Lightning may be grateful for that. It's not often you're pleased to keep the batsman on strike who's scoring at 200, because the batsman at the other end is scoring closer to 300.
Good to see a lot of patrons have come in to watch the cricket today. We're here for the next 2 days as well, and there's still the Leinster Lightning reply to come this afternoon if you feel like joining us in the Mardyke. The signal is wide, so a couple to add to the total. 232 for 3 now with 4 balls remaining.
And the overall run rate has now hit 2 a ball.
12, that would give us 240 if they continue at that for the next 4 deliveries. But with Rock on strike, well, you never know. He needs 22 for his century. Here comes McCarthy, round the wicket to the left-hander. And he found... no, he didn't find the blue line. I thought maybe he just snuck it inside, but no, it's a wide.
Paul Reynolds, he was took his time over that one, made the decision. Be bowled again, another one onto the total.
Well, Leinster Lightning will have no choice in their innings but to go for it. Here comes McCarthy. Into the feet of Rock, who just turns it into the mid-wicket boundary just to single.
Well, this is truly a magnificent innings, and it's now the second highest ever total in IP20 history, only beaten by Leinster versus the Northwest Warriors with 260 for 3. That must have been some game as well, but this one here, this has been magnificent hitting from the Northern Knights.
Really quick delivery with lots of lift. Topping deciding to let it go. A dot ball on the third last ball of the innings. So Topping on 56, Rock on 79. That run rate has dipped below 12. Just 2 balls remaining. They're going to take a run to the wicket-keeper. Neil Rock well in by the time Donegan had broken the stumps.
I think Donegan's throw was almost half-hearted. Certainly didn't want to concede any overthrows at this stage. Certainly not off Barry McCarthy's bowling. But another one taken.
Final ball, unless we have a wide or a no ball. And it's Rock to face with just about everybody out. Will he finish with a big one? Well, he tried to get to it, and they've run a bye, and the umpire signals a bye, so that's it. Leinster Lightning's anguish has come to a close, with Neil Rock closing on 79 off 26 deliveries. Morgan Topping 57 off 30. The run rate 11.8 and a wonderful 236 for 3 off their 20 overs for the Northern Knights, who, you have to say, batted magnificently. That was as good a display of smash hitting as you'll ever see.
Well, it all started off with the openers. Ross Adair went off at a rate of knots. He got 23 from just 24, but himself and Pretorius put on 90 for the first wicket. And Pretorius made a very good half-century off just 33 balls, and we thought that was quick at the time. Well, K. Carmichael, as I say, he holed out to long on for just 6, but then Topping and Rock. Well, Topping went off at a rate of knots. Rock gave him a head start, and it was the tortoise and the hare, and you can't call somebody who scores 57 off 30 a tortoise. But Neil Rock was the hare there. Look at that, partnership of 116 in just 43 balls.
Absolutely splendid stuff. And there's the hapless bowling figures. McCarthy managing to keep his run rate down to 6 and over, but all of the other bowlers taking some stick. Wickets for a few of them, but they won't feel like they've done much today. There's the match summary. The Northern Knights 236 for 3, and at the innings break, Leinster Lightning will have to galvanise themselves for a run chase to beat the Ages. Let's hope they can produce something special as we continue this Rario T20 Championship Series. Second match of 6 here in the Mardyke. We'll be rejoining you shortly with the Leinster Lightning reply.
Welcome back to sunny Mardyke, wherever you are across Ireland, across the country, across the world. It's Sean Kenny and Craig Senior bringing you this reply then for the second IP20 competition game. One of 6 matches taking place here at the Mardyke. We've had match 1 already, victory for the Warriors against the Munster Reds, and now this huge total to chase down. It would be a record, 237 needed for victory. The highest is 260 from Leinster Lightning. That's the second highest total in IP20 history, 236. So, Craig, this is a mighty big ask.
It certainly is, and they have to go right from the start. Seamus Lynch is going to face the first ball. He's with his captain, Tim Tector, and they're going to need to give a similar sort of start that the Northern Knights got from Adair and Pretorius.
There's your umpires, Paul Reynolds, and at the left-hand side of us, and behind the stumps it's Hollingshead. And immediately amongst the runs, what a shot that is! Nonchalant, 6. It must be easy to be batting out there. Unbelievable stroke, straight through the middle of the bat. First up, 6 balls, thank you and good night.
Well, no hanging around from Seamus Lynch. He's put that one over the boundary rope. 6 off 1 ball. One almost has to say they're ahead of the rate.
Van Wookercombe's first ball in interprovincial. Theo Van Wookercombe. And immediately Seamus Lynch, Terry Muir, says thank you for the present. And he just frees the arms and pumps it down the ground for 6. So that's a good start to the reply.
Well, it just goes to show that the Munster Reds total of 120 earned in the first game today seems very under par.
Yeah, good cricket. Get your 6 on the first ball, keep the scoreboard ticking over, just push it into the leg side and take a single. Some extraordinary hitting. Yeah, I did the toss, and I asked Neil Rock, did he learn anything from the first game? And he said it was just a blunder park effort from the Reds, so they didn't really learn anything about it at all, to be quite honest. But they certainly came out with intent. Tector now facing for the first time. That's in the air too. That's going to beat the ring of fielders and just roll away for 4. That's a good start to this reply. Tector off the mark with a boundary.
It's strange to think they're playing on the same pitch as the game this morning. Tim Tector, a lovely shot, just adjusting, placing it once he cleared the ring. It was free to bounce across the boundary.
That's better bowling. Squares Tector up. Dot ball. So need the run rate. You can see it there at the bottom of your screen there. It's 11.69. They're above that, obviously, for the first over so far. Oops. Little chip ball over the bowler's head. And little tap and run. But he mistimed that. Got away with it.
Well, it was carefully placed. They swap ends. Seamus Lynch again. Just checking his guard.
Pushed Lynch back into his own crease. Won't come back for the second one here. Lynch is interested, but Tim Tector, his captain, sends him back. First over. Plenty in it for both sides. 13 without loss.
Well, that's exactly the sort of start. And Seamus Lynch, well, he was determined to put his footprint right down the track and take that first ball for 6, and that set the standard. And they've continued on. Tim Tector with a beautiful boundary as well. But that's the sort of hitting they're going to need if they're going to chase down this massive total of the Northern Knights.
Tom Mays now coming on from the Sunday's well end. Medium pace. Started with spin. Slip has been dispensed with already. And the power play, first 6 overs of power play, so you can only have 2 fielders outside the inner ring. So there's a chance for the batsmen to, if they can get up and over or through that inner ring, it'll generally roll away to the boundary for 4. Big swing and a big heave on that one. Didn't get anything on it. Eyes lit up there. Mays got away with that one.
Well, the 2 men outside the single, one at deep mid-wicket and one at third man. Since Tom Mays, he certainly won't want to be too wide, too much room.
Too short. Tries to catch it. Quite middle as he would like it to have done to clear the boundary, and basically straight down the throat of the fielder out there.
Cade.
This is Cade Carmichael. Nicely stopped actually, because it came at him a pretty strong run of knots, a rate of knots. Oh, that's in the air, and that should be out. The bowler should catch it off his own bowling. And just got under it a little bit, but was able to put his hands behind his head and take an easy catch in the end. So victory for the bowler on that occasion. Mays gets the first wicket to fall in the second over, and it's 14 for 1 now.
Well, that's what scoreboard pressure does. When you're chasing such a large total, you feel you need to go after almost everything, and including balls that ordinarily you wouldn't have done so. Tim Tector went down on one knee, and it just top-edged straight up, and the bowler taking his own catch. And that's the first wicket down. And this the second over. See, it's just, he knew exactly what he'd done. As you say, May's getting slightly too far underneath it, but it didn't make any difference. The big hands caught the ball, and Tim Tector on his way, and that brings Adam Ross-Lee to the crease. Left hand, right hand combination now for Leinster Lightning.
Sun continues to beat down here. And the Mardyke slip is now gone in place for Ross-Lee, left-hander, facing Mays. Good start. Cracks it behind square for a single. But this is a massive total. 12 runs required and over. And we're only in the second, so as you suggest, well, we know it's going to be difficult trying to chase this down, but they'll be going after balls perhaps they shouldn't. They don't have any time at all really to be trying to build an innings. It's basically shoot or bust. Oh, cries of catch it. That's going to go hard to the boundary. Slashing hard. 4 runs.
Well, Lynch knows exactly what's required, and he'll take anything going. That one just managing to evade the fielder at short third. Run away to the boundary for 4. That's the sort of striking that Leinster need.
Oh, came off the splice, tries to catch it, and nicely caught, running forward. That's the end of the over as well. Matthew Humphreys taking a good catch as well, and that's got rid of Lynch. And the 6th ball of that over, the second over, yields the second wicket. 19 for 2 now.
Well, Tom Mays now 2 for 6. Lynch just getting under that one a bit. It was very high on the bat, couldn't get any power onto it. But in fairness to Matthew Humphreys, he made good ground and caught it just above the grass. And 2 down, and the Leinster Lightning reply, well, is it floundering already?
Funny, isn't it? Neil Rock at the toss said he would actually have bowled first. It just goes to show you how wrong you can be at times. No hesitation from Leinster Lightning to bowl first, and Rock would have done the same.
Well, the cricketing gods often tease players, spectators alike. On that occasion, Lynch was hoping to pull that one towards the trees to the left of the tennis courts. Greg Ford now has come in, number 4.
Immediately runs. Nicely played from Ford. They'll come back for the second. Ford hesitates just a little bit. He didn't think there was a second one in there for him, but Ross Lee was nearly down at his toes by the time he took off. Slightly fortunate. White ball.
Just as much as you were saying that this massive total they're chasing means that the batsmen are going to take on shots that maybe they wouldn't ordinarily. The same is true with the running between the wickets. There's the distinct possibility of they're going to try and turn ones into twos, and it could provide its own problems as well.
Straining a little bit. Bowler. Room Pretorius. That's 2 wides down the offside. Room Pretorius, the South African. Number of South African born players now in the Irish setup. Should go back for the second. I was telling you earlier on about the pitch out there. Sometimes it just catches one of those little bobbles in the pitch and jumps up on you, so the fielder unable to collect, and as a result they're able to run through for the second run. Ross Lee down towards us here. 4 runs. Moment it left the bat. We could see we're at a perfect angle here to see that ball coming down here. Nicely played. There was a player down close to picking that up, diving away to his right hand side, but he couldn't prevent it.
Well, it was a nicely judged shot. Just played or ran it down towards fine third man up in the ring.
Well, Pretorius, really, you can hear him grunting at every opportunity when he's bowling. It shows he's putting the maximum into it. Been a bit expensive though in this first over. He's gone for 10.
Well,
oh, it's in the air. It's very high. 2 fielders trying to descend upon that ball, but they won't cut that one off. It's just hit the matting at the far end, and it's a straight 6 in Pretorius. Despite all his grunting, he's getting a real tap in this first over. He's gone for 16.
well, that's a super shot from Ross Lee. Picked it on its length, drove it straight over the bowler's head.
Finally he gets out of it with the dot ball. An expensive one too for Pretorius. A couple of wides in there as well. So 35 for 2 at the end of 3.
Well, the run rate at the moment certainly in Leinster Lightning's favour, but they have lost those 2 early wickets in the first 3 overs. And that combined with the massive total they are chasing down, they have to break this down into smaller, more manageable totals. Little landmarks along the way. If you start at the beginning looking at 236, it will just overwhelm you.
Mays to continue then from the Sunday's well end, which is also our commentary box end. No run. Dot ball's important. Just keeps that pressure up. But Riley has to break them down into segments. You cannot be looking at the finish line just yet. What are we going to be like after 5 overs? What will we be like after the end of the power play after the 6? How many will we have down? How can we accelerate? Who should we pick on? Get all breaking down into different segments. Oh, shot at the stumps. Oh, is he out? Oh, good stop. Very good backing up as well.
Sounds Hollins' head.
That was important. That was going to the boundary.
Fine throw. Good fielding. Well, as you would expect when you're defending a total of 236, the Northern Knights are enthusiastic and bouncing around in the field at the moment. They really feel this is there for them.
Oh, scooped in the air, and the wicketkeeper takes it. Easy catch in the end. Did well going backwards. It's not an easy toss ball to take when it's going that direction over your head, but in the end it was easy. Big pair of gloves for him. He stood right underneath it and took the catch. And that's the end of the 3rd wicket as Rossley goes for 15. Caught by Rock. Off the bowling of Mays, his 3rd wicket.
Well, if ever there is an example of what we were saying earlier, going after balls that perhaps you shouldn't, this one he felt he needed to hit, and all he could do was lift it. And Rock adds a catch to his magnificent innings in the 1st innings. Mays now has 3 wickets.
Yeah, he gets a 5 for these two. Will be vying for player of the match.
They will indeed. Well, the Leinster Lightning, they've got quite a decent batting order, quite a long order, but it's looking now like they're going to need every one of them. 36 for 3. Mark Donegan comes to the crease.
Leinster Lightning wicketkeeper today, Mark Donegan. Mays with his tail up. And he's only 2nd over. 3, 4, 6, all the wickets to fall so far. In this Leinster Lightning reply. Left-hander, 2nd slip in place now.
Well, he was
Donegan off the mark immediately.
well cramped up there by Mays, but Donegan having the sense just to play it down to 3rd, takes the single, gets down to the non-striker's end. But this is fine bowling by Mays. You can see why the selectors are having a look at him.
Big, tall, rangy man, Mays. Varies his pace quite well. So the stumps and the far end. Cracked straight to the fielder though, so they can't run the 2. Nicely played up on his toes, just ran the ball down off the face of the bat. That ends the over. 4 down now, 39 for 3.
Tom Mays certainly the star of this 2nd inning so far, 3 for 9. Again, that pressure at the scoreboard and the feel of the need to play big shots has cost the Leinster Lightning those 3 wickets right at the top. We're down to 4 and 5 now. You'd say they have to rebuild, but they don't have time.
Well, got to get at it. We'll have the bowling figures now shortly. So change, no surprise really. Pretorius went for 16 in the last over, so Foster's coming on. Matthew Foster, wearing 6. He goes on now to start the 5th over with Lightning in deep, deep trouble. That's in the air as well. Cries of catch it. Won't catch that. It's going to go up and over the head of the player down there. And they run through for 2. Didn't get all of that. Slightly fortunate. Donegan moves to 4. Oh, pulled away. Nicely stopped down there as well too. Straight to the fielder, unfortunate from the batsman's point of view. That was a really good shot.
No ball called by Paul Reynolds. That will give Greg Ford a free hit now. My apologies. Paul Reynolds, of course. He's at square leg end now.
So as a result of pushing everybody out as far as they possibly can go, the 2 men outside the circle are now away to our left hand side on the leg side. All the rest have been pulled up into the circle on the offside. They just tried to ramp it or tickle around the corner. It didn't work. They got away with a free one. Sometimes I think some players are over elaborate. I know it's a big chase on, but every run is vital at this stage, so maybe bat on ball, try and get at least 1.
Yes. The risk reward ratio on that flip shot not quite working out.
And as a result, now we got 2 balls which they haven't scored from.
Umpire just checking the front foot of Foster. No problem there yet.
Very serious men, aren't they, umpires? Do a very good job. Tough work. Got to keep your full concentration right throughout the innings. Both innings. Down the track he comes. Just the single. Paul Reynolds, a very experienced umpire, we know. Don't know much about Sam, actually, but he's obviously over here from English County Cricket. Do a bit of umpiring here. Bit of exchange going on. Learn arts and crafts and skills from each other's competitions. It's good to see.
And good to see. Probably passing on his knowledge to the Irish umpires as well.
This is good from Foster.
He's found a good length here. You could see how Ford went down the track to try and negate that length. But Donegan, staying at his crease, couldn't make contact, and another dot ball.
Slower delivery, batsman threw the shot before the ball had arrived. That's a very good over from Foster. A maiden. Amazing at this context of the game. With 5 overs down, they're 44 for 3. There was a free hit in that, but Mays will be coming on now as well. Perhaps, yes, he will finish off his 3rd over, and he's been the pick of the bowler so far. 3 for 9. Donegan on 5. Ford on 2. And they're still looking a long way short of that target of 237, which would be a record chase.
Well, runs required now has dipped under 200, and the Leinster run rate 8.8. It's a respectable run rate. If you weren't chasing 236. And you can see that pressure that the scoreboard is putting on the bats. They're having big swings at balls, and as a result, as you say, just not getting bat on ball. And that was the thing about the Northern Knights hitting, was it was such clean hitting. There were very few came off the edge. They went where they wanted them to go.
Well, they did have the luxury of trying to build an innings rather than chase it down. And that is the difference. Down the track he comes. Swished away, and there's 2 fielders down there, but they won't cut that one off. Down to Cow Corner that goes at a rate of knots.
No, he's just going a little too short on this one. He came forward to it. More a baseball shot than anything you'd see in an MCC coaching manual. But the result is 4 runs to the Leinster Lightning.
Getting through the shot just a little early. He's dug it in short, up and over the stumps. Paul Reynolds looks to the sky. He is in the background. Fine. A knowledgeable Irish umpires, Reynolds. There's a little look to the sky to see blue skies ahead for the rest of this game. You have to get up on top of that. And again, cracked it down to Cow for 4 more runs.
Well, that one was an exact replica of the 4 he hurt earlier in the over. Cross-bat shot out to Cow Corner.
It's up off the splice, but that's got to be fortuitous and should go for 4. They're scattering down there as the fielder tries to hurdle the those watching on the boundary. 4 welcome runs, but that one, let's say, was streaky.
He was looking for that same Cow Corner shot, this time going down to the main gate. Another 4 for the total. As I say, 9.6, not a run rate to be sniffed at.
Slapped again down towards Cow Corner, but they've moved the fielder around there to cut that off. And it ends the 6th over. And chasing that huge target, they are 57 for 3.
Well, it took a couple of 4s, but Ruin Pretorius went down to protect that boundary.
Steve.
And it paid off immediately with that delivery.
Steve. So 57 for 3 at the end of 6 is a big target. 237 is a long way away. Donegan on 5. Ford quickly on to 15 from just 12 deliveries. Word from you, Craig, again, and Stephen will step in for the next few overs.
Well, as I say, it's a good power play in terms of runs scored, but it's those 3 wickets down. And so many times the cliche of if you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you rarely win the game. And Leinster, well, they're up against it now. Welcome back, Stephen.
Hi, Craig. Some good hitting here by Greg Ford, but just a single that time. Yeah, the comparison after 6 overs, it was 49 for no wicket. That's what the Knights were.
It's that no wickets that is making
No
a huge
wicket.
difference. Even though they were only on 49, it meant that those 2 batsmen had been in for 6 overs, and then they were ready to launch their assault, which saw them take the Northern Knights up to 90 before they lost a wicket.
Nicely hoisted, but is it far enough? Yes. Over the wicker fence. Over the picket fence, I should say. For a maximum from Donegan.
Well, before that, Foster had bowled 7 balls for 6 runs. And then after this shot, 1 ball for 6 runs. Nice shot, nice pick up. But they're going to lead.
Boundary out there is just 61 yards, not very long. It's the shorter of the wide boundaries. And that one smashed straight down the ground, and that's gone for 4-2. So Donegan getting his eye in now.
Well, that's a fine shot from Donegan.
He's up to the required rate now, 15 off 8. But they have to stay in for a lengthy partnership. Partnerships are everything, as we saw from the Knights.
Very much so.
That's a fine delivery. The Knights bowlers have got a lot more bounce from the wicket, but they've kept it controlled, and they've bowled very few that the umpires have called.
Well, you see, from the first innings, Barry McCarthy with a yard more pace than we'd seen today, and he was the most economical of the Leinster Lightning bowlers in face of that. And now you've got Mays and Foster both called up to the Irish squad, and you can see why.
Well, that's a top edge for 6 over the wicketkeeper's head. Another maximum in this game of high scoring. Terrific effort by Mark Donegan.
Well, he's now moved over a strike rate of 200 with that shot. Just a toe edge. Could have gone anywhere. Ended up right behind the wicketkeeper for a glorious 6.
That's pulled away and well stopped on the boundary by Pretorius, but they've got 2 runs here for the throw. It's a great over for Mark Donegan and the Lightning. 76 for 3 now after 7. And that was a 19 run over. That'll do wonders for their Madison.
Well, it certainly helps. Run rate, they're going along at 10.86, which ordinarily you'd think was brilliant. But the run rate required still 12.3, 12.4. And they're going to have to continue in this vein. They got 19 from that over, and Tom May's figures after his previous over, not quite as neat as they were.
Committee meeting going on between the skipper, Neil Rock, Tom Mays, and now Tyrone Cohn, who's coming into the attack, as they ponder how to stem the flow of these Lightning runs. So they're going with a long on. A man at cow corner, square leg, all on the boundary, and a deep cover. Tyrone Cohn into the attack. And hit straight back to him by Greg Ford.
And the other thing about this interprovincial series as well, of course, is a lot of these players wouldn't play against each other. The only time there's a mixture across the unions, I suppose, is with the Bob Kerr Irish Senior Cup and with the National Cup. But other than that, Leinster players would very rarely face or play against Northern Knights players.
Lovely shot from Greg Ford, got over that nicely, but there's a man on the cover, so just a single to the right-hander. He moves to 17, Donegan on 23. That target in the bottom right corner, 237 run rate required at this point, 12.63.
You almost have to remind yourself this is a T20 and not a 50 over game. 237 wouldn't have been a bad score there either.
Well, certainly a month ago when the conditions were a lot softer and cooler. Single for Donegan around the corner. He's 24 off 12.
In fact, just to give you some idea of how big this target is, there are only 240 runs scored by both teams in the first game. And yet here we are now, looking, well, if Leinster are to win this, that would be 470 runs in a T20.
Well, we saw this at Pembroke late last summer in the T20 series of 2022. Some very high scoring there, but then that's a very high scoring ground. Oh, beautifully driven. Mays, though, quickly across to cut it off. Just the single for Ford.
Again, he looks down at the ground and you can see the undulations there, and he did very well to make sure that although he had that ground to cover, he did stop, so even if his hands hadn't got the ball, he had something behind it. A lesson for all young cricketers: make sure you've got some of your body behind it, no matter what.
The Knights field placing, concentrating on boundary protection and making it difficult for the Lightning to get to, but they got it that time with some swift running by Ford and Donegan.
Well, they are going to have to be careful on calling these singles. I know they need every run possible, but as we said earlier, you might be making the wrong shot selection by scoreboard pressure, but you can also call the wrong run very easily.
Tried the old paddle, but he couldn't do it. Couldn't get the bat on the ball. Through to Rock, and a fine over from Tyrone Cone, just 5 coming from it. 81 for 3 after 8 overs.
Well, doing exactly what his captain would have wanted. And there you see, in fact, the Leinster Lightning slightly above on the worm, but it's that power hitting from these partnerships. They've now reached the stage whereby the Northern Knights had lost a wicket.
It is deceptive because the Knights were 73 but only 1 wicket down after the same 8 overs. And a change of bowling here for the Knights, and it's Matt Humphreys who's going to come on from the Mardyke walk end. Sixth bowler to be used by the Knights.
Well, sometimes you like to use your 6 for flexibility at the end of the innings, and sometimes because your other 5, well, they're either bowled out or they're getting some tap. But this is a good decision here. Humphreys into the attack.
Great lift from that.
Well,
Just pushed it through, and it came up off a length. Just short of a length, maybe.
Greg Ford was surprised by just how much that leapt past him, and I suspect Neil Rock behind him also taken by surprise.
He's pulled that away. There's a fielder at Cow Corner, but it hasn't carried. So just a single for Ford, who's certainly cracking the ball nicely. Very correct batter.
Yes.
More of a 4-hitter than a 6-hitter. Brings Donegan on strike. 26-0-14. Ford moves to 19.
Slight adjustment to the field. Long on being pushed just a yard or 2 wider.
The left-right combination at the crease, making it more difficult for the Knights. And that's hit straight down the ground to the deep mid-on. Just a single to Donegan.
Pretorius, he's finding himself fielding wherever the ball's going at the moment. He's currently there at long off. Earlier on we saw him protecting the tennis courts from the assault they were undergoing.
That's a fine shot through the covers. Past the despairing dive of Tom Mays. Lovely stroke from Greg Ford.
Well, as you said, more a 4-hitter than a 6-hitter. This is a perfect example. It's on the ground all the way, and once it beat Tom Mays, nobody else was going to stop it. 4 onto the total.
That one's a little bit short and it's cracked away past point. Another boundary for Greg Ford, who's looking in very good nick today. Jason van der Merwe unable to get that one into his clutches at backward point.
That previous 4 hit by Greg Ford, well, that brought up the 50 partnership, and then he followed that up with a cracking shot behind square on the offside.
Here it is, 55 off 33 deliveries, which is just short of the asking rate that the Lightning are chasing. But we're only 9 overs into a lengthy run chase. 91 for 3 after 9 overs. 92 for 3. Ford on 27, Donegan on 27. Great partnership this.
Well, Humphries went for 10 in his over, but even then he can afford to, thanks to the magnificent batting in the first innings.
Knights were 82 for 1 after 9 overs. 92 for 3 the score for Leinster Lightning, so they are staying ahead on the worm. But of course there's a long way to go and they've got to keep this partnership going. Tyrone Cohn for his second over. Just 5 off the first.
Slight change in the field. Long on, going back to the fence.
Full toss had Greg Ford reaching. Deep cover is there. Theo van Werkum. Just a single.
And for Donegan, 2 on the fence on the leg side. Nobody in saving the single on the leg side.
3 out in the deep. 4 out in the deep, indeed. And he pulls it to backward square leg where the fielder is there, Ross Adair. Just a single for Donegan. It's good to see both these Leinster Lightning batters having an equal share in this partnership. They're both contributing handsomely to what is a good fight back after losing 3 wickets for 36. And that one again straight to the fielder, just the single. Knights will be happy with that. That's all they want to do. They can keep Lightning to 5 or 6 and over. That'll be just perfect. That run rate required up to 13.5 now. The actual run rate down to 10. Oh, that's a good hit, but it can't beat well placed field. Adair again in the deep. It's good field placing. It's good clever cricket by the Northern Knights.
Well, you're realising that Leinster really need boundaries, and he's protecting that leg side boundary for Donegan very well.
This one hits straight down the ground to Tom Mays, ever watchful of the bouncing ball. Another single. It's boundaries the Lightning need. That run rate required will just keep climbing and faster as the game progresses.
So this is the last ball of the first half of this innings.
Well, that's surely out of his reach. Yeah, wide called. That one was well above shoulder height. Tyrone Cohn really putting his back into that one. He went for 5 in his first over, 6 so far in this. It's good bowling from him. All the medium pacers for the Knights have done well. And that's brilliantly hit away. And I think it's gone all the way. Yes, it's a maximum. Donegan finding the boundary. And his score goes to 35. And the 100 comes up at the end of the 10th over. 104 for 3. Good reply from the Lightning.
And in terms of runs at the moment, I think they're an over ahead of where the Northern Knights were.
Northern Knights were 90 for 2. Lightning 104 for 3. So only one wicket in it, but of course from 100 for 2 the Knights rather stretched their legs with Morgan Topping and Neil Rock, so that's what these two are going to have to do.
Well, they're doing well at the moment. Ford 30 off 24 and Donegan 35 off 18. And this is really where the fight back begins now. 133 required off 60. It just goes to show you what a magnificent end of the innings the Northern Knights had when they were batting.
Little single taken by Ford. Well, that hitting by Neil Rock. 79 or whatever it was. A few balls.
Yeah.
It was quite extraordinary. To match that would be quite something. Humphreys just losing his run up there, and he'll have to start again.
But again, it's good to see young bowlers, when they realise something's wrong, they stop. Far too often you see inexperienced players just try and deliver a ball anyway, and it ends up being a particularly bad ball.
That's a well struck shot, but has it got the legs? Oh, it certainly has. It's a maximum for Donegan, who moves to 41 off just 19 deliveries.
Is he the Neil Rock for the Leinster side? Both left-handers, both keeping wicket today, and both scoring freely now.
Yeah, it's quite a contest between those two. In your picture there, number 5 and number 14. And that's hit very fine, but just a single. Ford backing up well, as you would expect of the non-striker in a run chase like this. So the right-hander comes to the crease. The field adjusts again, just the one inside the circle on the leg side, 3 out on the boundary. And he has bowled him. Well, Ford was trying to make room for the shot, and he just misjudged the line, and it's Humphreys who makes the breakthrough, breaking up this excellent partnership for the Lightning. Ford has to go, bowled by Humphreys for 31 of 25 deliveries. It's 112 for 4.
Well, Paul Reynolds giving that out at square leg makes me wonder, was it bowled? We'll see from the
Indeed.
replay.
When I first saw it, I thought
Maybe
it seemed strange because the ball looked like it was wide. It could have gone back onto the stumps off the wicketkeeper, in which case it could be a stumping.
Well, next out, and
We shall see.
understandably from the Leinster Lightning, with the match situation the way it is, Barry McCarthy, he hit a 25 ball 66 on Saturday for his club.
Stumped rock bowled Humphreys is the official line.
Yep, the
So it
scorers
came
have got
back-
it down as stumped rock, and I think Rock's hand provided the rebound onto the stumps, and Ford was out of his crease.
So a second dismissal for Neil Rock, whose magnificent 79 saw the Knights reach 236 for 3, and a first wicket for Humphreys. And the hard-hitting Barry McCarthy coming to the wicket, 4 down, and his side needing a big one. Not just a big hit or two, a big innings. When he's off the mark with his first delivery. This is a great little over from Matt Humphreys. on this wicket this afternoon. Wickets hard to come by.
It's like we were playing on a different ground this morning.
Indeed.
That was all about the bowlers and wickets. This one is certainly all about the bat and the power.
The lefty going over the wicket. The big hit from Donegan past the pavilion roof for another maximum. Well, if Rock was the man, the left-hander for the Knights, it's certainly Donegan who is taking the fight back to the Knights for the Lightning.
Donegan, of course, who scored fine runs in Sydney Parade earlier this year. He seems to be in form this season. He's enjoying his time with the interprovincial side, and he's now moved on to 48, and it's only taken him 21 balls to get there. Well, we came to a T20 festival, and there's certainly a festival of big hitting this afternoon.
5 maximums for Donegan so far, just 1-4. And on the cusp of a splendid half century, if he can keep it going. 11 overs gone, 119 for 4.
Well, Pretorius now to come back on at the Sunday Wells end, and it'll be Barry McCarthy facing him.
Went for 16 in his first over. That's a wide, surely.
Signalled as such by Paul Reynolds. And that's 120 up.
Every run counts.
Well, they're still in this game, amazingly, even with 4 wickets down.
Well, this is the kind of ground that really lends itself to a big run chase. And there's a big high shot that is going to be out. Never really quite got it. Barry McCarthy has to go. It's a 5th wicket down for the Lightning. And a big breakthrough again for the Knights. An easy catch in the end. Lightning have to keep pushing, and that's the problem. It's hard to keep scoring at 12-13 and over for any extended period.
Well, McCarthy wanted to go straighter on that. Instead, it just came off the inside of the bat, flew out to Kell corner. The fielder came in off the fence. Simple catch, and McCarthy departs for 1. And, well, slight change in the atmosphere out there, where the Northern Knights were perhaps starting to worry about that partnership. 2 quick wickets, and they really feel they're on top again now.
Well, Donegan will be the big target for them.
Thank you.
This is Sam Harbinson, who had a wonderful debut for the Lightning in his only appearance for the team, doing well with bat and ball. Can he do it again today? He slashed that away for 4.
Well,
that's a signal of intent.
Well, if you look at the scoreboard, you come out to bat, you decide, right, we're going for this. That is the perfect first shot. Slash behind square on the offside, bringing 4 runs to him straight away. Now, how will Pretorius adjust? It could be that the ball to bowl here now is a Yorker. Harbison's looking for the big blow.
And he tried for that, and it slashed it this time to the deep slip. An unusual fielding position. And Pretorius finds the edge of Harbinson's bat, and surely another nail in the Lightning coffin. 124 now for the loss of 6 wickets. You wonder if they can keep this going for much longer.
Well, the first one he slashed wide down to the corner of the ground where the net is. this time didn't get as much of it, and it flew to that, well, short third or deep slip. 4 off 2 balls, and one of those balls is just missed on. So strike rate of 200, which is what his side needs, but his side needs somebody to have that strike rate with a much longer innings. Well, Joey Carroll now has come out to the middle to join Mark Donegan, and with just 4 wickets left, well, you get the feeling the Leinster Lightning, well, they're going to go down swinging. What other way is there to go at this stage?
Well, it's the first day of this Rario T20 series, which will run over the months of June, July and August. So a long way to go. Playing against all the other sides twice. And this just the second game of 18. Too early to talk about net run rates or anything like that. Well, I'm sure Donegan hasn't given up hope. 48 off 21. First job for him is to get to that half century. Keep the Lightning in the game. 112 off 50. They need to get that down to 2 per ball if they can. That'll be their first target without losing another wicket.
Well, it's the steady drip drip of wickets now that are hemorrhaging for Leinster. 6 down now. Mark Donegan, the lone beacon of light.
Some signalling going on between the umpires. Not quite sure what's happening here.
Well,
and
this
Aidan
delay.
Seaver, the third umpire, seems to be bringing something out. Is it a helmet? Perhaps a problem with the headgear for one of the Lightning batters. Anyway, small delay here with Lightning just past the halfway mark to the 237 runs they need, but only 4 wickets in hand. And Mark Donegan is beginning to run out of partners. Problem for Joey Carroll with his helmet, and just maybe trying to change it.
Well, he couldn't just change it. It didn't feel right. So what he's going to do is move the grill across, I think, from one to the other. This could mean a delay of a couple of minutes, or he's taken... It could be he was missing one of the screws. I've often seen that happen before.
Seems happier now. Does Joey Carroll?
At least the umpires seem happier with his helmet. So Aidan Seavers departs the playing field. Joey Carroll returns to the crease, and Ruan Pretorius gets the ball back. Well,
and this has been a great effort by Pretorius, taking 2 wickets in this over to really make it difficult for the Lightning. And that's helped on its way by Donegan, but a very good sliding save on the boundary. Keeps the Lightning down to 1. Carroll on strike then to Pretorius. And it's slashed away, but short of third man. And just a single for him. It's just what the Knights want. Keeping Lightning to 1 run per ball. They need 110 now, or 48. 12 overs gone. 127 for 6. Donegan on 49. Carroll on 2. More pace coming back for the Northern Knights, with Joey Carroll on strike. Matt Foster from the Mardyke walk end, with the aid of the breeze. And Neil Rock just making sure his field is well set. He's gone very deep at wicketkeeper. And that one down the leg side, but no wide signalled. And then it is a belated call from our English umpire Sam Hollingshead.
I think he was making absolutely sure the ball was dead before he signalled. Again, officials always like to get these things right, in the right order.
Easy single, there's nobody saving one in front of the wicket on the leg side. And once the bowler wasn't going to get to it, the run was there, so Carroll gets another to move to 3. Donegan on strike on 49.
Again, Carroll 3 off 3, just showing that he's doing the right thing in giving his partner the strike.
Well, Donegan has been the main man for the Lightning, but he's running out of partners and he has to keep going no matter what. And he's hit that firmly to deep mid-on, and that single will bring him to 50 off 23 deliveries. A wonderful effort by him. Fine wicket-keeping batsman. And he takes the score to 130 for 6. 4 and 5 sixes in that fine 50. Turned fine by Carroll, maybe off his pads. Leg by signalled. Another one to the total. But it's starting to look ominous for the Lightning. They're just not getting enough boundaries. And since Pretoria's got those 2 wickets a couple of overs ago, things have really turned towards the Knights.
Well, it's the loss of wickets that have been deflating the Leinster Lightning. As I say, Donegan, the lone beacon here. Those 6 wickets, and they've fallen in, not in clumps, but 2 at a time. Touch of Noah's Ark about it. The wickets came in 2 by 2.
That was a fine delivery by Foster across Mark Donegan, just inside the blue line. And a miscue here will only give a single to Leinster Lightning's top scorer today. It's been well defended, this total. A fine total, of course, it has to be said. It's very hard to chase down anything over 200.
It's, I mean...
But they have played well, the Knights. They've bowled well, they've set good fields. And that one's cracked away by Carroll, but there's a man out there, and it's another wicket. A 7th goes for the Lightning at the end of the 13th over. Carroll caught going for a big one. It's 132 for 7, and Foster gets his first wicket. 1 for 28 off 3.
Well, the one thing the Northern Knights were very good at was partnerships. 2 guys got in, and they powered on through. And now 132 for 7, just 3 wickets left. You can see Joey Carroll, scoreboard pressure, felt the need to go big, and he's still 10 yards inside the boundary there when the catch was taken. That's 7 down, and that brings Gavin Hoey to the crease.
And possibly Leinster Lightning's last hope. Gavin Hoey, a very good batter, joining Donegan as the breeze stiffens here in the Mardyke and the sun moves away behind us. over the Sunday's well end of the ground.
Pretorius in for his third over now. He's been going at 12 and over, but that's not a problem. The important thing is he's taken 2 wickets.
Helped around the corner by Donegan, but unable to pierce this well-placed field. Very good field placing by the Knights. Just a single for Donegan that time. Moves to 52. Brings Gavin Hoey on strike.
And Neil Rock has done a fine job as Field Marshal today, organising his troops, sending them on their assignments, and it's all worked out well for them.
Moving away that ball from Pretorius, very close to being a wide, but not called by Paul Reynolds. And same again from Pretorius. Very clever bowling. Gavin Hoey unable to get a bat onto it. He was trying to flick it up and over the wicketkeeper.
Once he didn't make contact, he was negotiating with the umpire for a wide. He was turned down.
And this time the arms are extended by Paul Reynolds. But still over 100 required and only 38 balls left. And Pretorius showing all of his experience, making it really difficult for these batters to get bat on ball. Straight down the ground but mistimed, so it'll just be a couple. Good running by Donegan to get back to the danger end. So 2 for Hoey, gets him off the mark. And just 1 to go in this 14th over. 135 for 7. It's nearly up to 3 per ball at the moment. Oh, that's a smashing hit. Landing just in front of the fielder on the cover boundary. Adair, though.
Fine work out there again. He's patrolled
Really
that boundary really well. Hasn't let many go past him there. And that was an awkward one because it was a possible catch and he felt like he wanted to come in for it. Ended up just parrying it down.
Pretorius to finish off the over. And that one smashed away over the fence into the tennis courts for a maximum. Fine hit indeed from Hoey, reducing the runs to win to 100. But Lightning running out of wickets, running out of overs, and if they were to get this total, it would be sensational. I'll leave you for now in the capable hands of John Kenny and Craig Senior for the conclusion of this second Rario T20 here at the Mardyke.
Well, the Leinster Lightning, they've put their best effort into this and they've put up a good score here, 137 of 14, but it does leave them now with 100 required from just 36 balls. Well, it's still on, but it's going to take a magnificent partnership if the Leinster Lightning are to get that. Welcome back, John. Enjoying this?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's 2 contrasting games. I mean, we had the first one where the Reds were skittled out for 120. This is a completely different game. It's a run fest. Hoey's on 10 from 5, 21-year-old. From Dublin. And Donegan is holding things together down the other end. That could be out. No, it's just falling short. One bounce into the fielder down there. Donegan deserves One or two pieces of luck. He's been batted really well, the wicketkeeper, 52 from 26 deliveries.
Well, he's been the one that sort of held it together for the Leinster Lightning. He's seen partners come and go.
Gavin Hoey can hit a big ball too. Down the track he goes, and as soon as I say that, the curse of the commentators, he just flicks it down to the long on, and he's out. Gone for 10. Little cameo. 5 runs, 5 deliveries faced, in fact 6 in the end. And Gavin Hoey goes for 10. Another wicket gone. 114 for 8 now. The writing's on the wall. Just 2 wickets remaining. They should wrap this up in the next couple of deliveries or overs, you would think.
Well, that's the way this game has gone. Each one of the Leinster Lightning batsmen trying to take on the wrong delivery. In this case, Gavin Hoey, well, he had to come down the track. He just got it under his feet and ended up just flicking it down to the fielder. And that's the 8th wicket hit down. And yes, one feels that we're not going to see the 20th over here.
Scores coming in for the World Cup warm-up matches. When West Indies are playing the UAE. UAE are in Ireland's group. West Indies made 306. UAE 38 for 2 now at the end of 10, so they need 269 from 41 overs. West Indies are in the opposite group to Ireland, but UAE are in ours. Starts on the 18th. Namashidu is coming in at number 10.
Well, 2 left-handers at the crease now.
Certainly takes his time, does Sam, to give the wides. Just make sure that the ball is dead or in the wicketkeeper's hands, everything before he makes the signal. It's like a modern-day football when the flag goes up after 20 minutes after you find yourself initially offside. That's beats the outside edge, another dot ball.
Well, Hamish Sidhu, not renowned for his batting. He's not on the side for that.
Very frustrated for Donegan at the far end on 53. Sidhu faced a couple of deliveries and he hasn't scored a run yet. Well, that's gone away. Somebody is down there. Attempted diving catch. Doesn't quite come off. Good attempt. And Sidhu off the mark with a boundary.
Good solid connection, taking it out to the tents, the team tents over there, sort of just wide of cow corner, but he got down on one knee and lofted it out there, and it was a magnificent attempt.
Pretorius.
Yeah, made the ground, threw his arms out for it. So
15 now, down, yes, 15 overs down, slightly behind on our clock, and 150 up now. It's like it's one shy. Yeah, 15 overs down, so 149 for 8. 2 wickets in hand. They need 88 from 30. Yeah, it's been done before, but it's a huge chase if they were to do this. But they've only got the 2 wickets in hand, and that's their problem.
Yeah, it's the resources they don't have. So with 5 overs to go, well, we saw some tremendous hitting from the Northern Knights in those last 5 overs to get their score up to 236.
Cries a bowler. Oh, just about made it home. Sidhu had to take it on.
Well, Donegan was determined to get back on strike, and Sidhu, well, if it had been a direct hit, he would have been very tight. But that's what's needed at this stage. Absolutely no point in not going for the second.
around the corner. There is 2 fielders down there.
Oh, they play past the parcel, but they know Donegan's only going to take 2. He wants to retain the strike. And 2 runs saved. I mean, without the chasing of 236, this is actually a good total by the Leinster Lightning.
Yeah, normal circumstances, but these aren't normal. Mace has got 3 for it so far. Tries to catch it. A slower delivery, and then it went through the wicket keeper, and they gone through for leg buys. So fortuitous Mays doesn't add to his total, but 4 to the Lightning total, takes it to 157. Just got the tail end of that there on our action replay. Actually came off the thigh. Pulled. There's only 2 players in IP20 history have gone on to make a century in this form of the game, and that's Ross Adair, highest score of 111. And Murray Cummins has also gone past 100. I don't think it's well short of that at the moment. But he might fancy it. He's in. There's nothing to lose now, really. They've got just the 2 wickets in hand, and he's 79 runs to win off 26 deliveries. They might as well go down carrying your shield, or carry it home in his shield, rather than bringing it home as a piece of an ornament. Always be carried out on your shield, I think. Go down fighting. Round the wicket comes Moyes. And around the corner goes Sidhu. He said he's not on the team for his batting, but he looks a decent sort.
He's getting behind the ball. He doesn't look like he's going to clear the fences too much, except maybe he had that super shot down towards the tents. But one feels his main job would be just getting Donegan on strike.
Attempted ramp. Is that out? That's out, and that's the end of that fine innings from Donegan in a lost cause, really. 58 from 31 deliveries. Had to try something a little bit different. Just tickled it through to the wicket keeper. Mays has got his 4th wicket, and it's 159 for 9 now at the end of 16.
Well, that's another wicket for Mays. That's 4 for him now. And this is how Tom Mays collected his 4th wicket. The attempted scoop over the keeper wasn't to work for Donegan. He knew he hit it. As soon as he saw the finger, he was off. So that's...
I'll be with the days when they used to walk.
Yes, indeed.
You'd be shamed into it, wouldn't you? I mean, if you didn't walk, you'd say back to the pavilion and say, "Did you hit that?"
Yes.
I did, yeah, I did. Why'd you walk?
Yeah.
Well...
Certainly, for those of us of a certain vintage, I never enjoyed the feeling of I scored 38 for 2 this weekend. For 1 was always enough for me.
We're down in Laois this weekend. It's Stradbally. Looking forward to going down there. It's a nice little ground. 30 overs a side match down there. It's this coming Saturday, if we can get the day off.
I've been down to Laois Rugby Club many times. I haven't been to the new place yet.
It's lovely.
Really
it's real kind of rolling kind of outfields, countryside. It's, like, it's a farmer's field, but it's a lovely strip on it. And they're really welcoming. Last man in then, Reuben Wilson. Forlorn hope now. It looks like it's going to be the 2 northern teams to open their account in this IP20 Festival of Cricket. 2 more matches to bring you tomorrow, starting at 11 o'clock our time.
Matthew Foster bowling a good line and length here. That's all he needs to do. It's going through to the keeper.
Leinster Lightning against the Northwest Warriors here tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. The second match is the Reds and the Knights. That's a 3:30 start. And then our final two matches this week is the Knights against the Warriors. The way things are going so far, that could be crucial and pivotal. That's 11 o'clock start. And then the Lightning against the Reds. And that is at 3:30. Is that going to go all the way to the boundary? No, it's not. It's going to pull up on the outfield. Couple to Sidhu. But really in the last rights here.
Well, 76 to win from 21 balls. Not impossible, but unlikely.
Stop. One wicket in hand.
1 wicket in hand. Born
I
optimist.
do like optimism, but that's bordering on lunacy. Especially when one comes in shooting as low as that one. And Sidhu's not the biggest man in the world either.
Still managed to play over the top of that one. Well, Mark Donegan certainly did his best for the Leinster Lightning today, but it's not going to be enough.
Nicely played by Sidhu. Just lent on the ball, angle of the bat, played it down to backward point, picks up a single. Chance to stand in the middle for a little bit. If Wilson doesn't get out at the other end, this is his first time facing Foster, who's got 1 for 31, and this is the last ball of his 4-over spell, and the last ball of the 17th over. Shadow starting to lengthen across the ground away to our right-hand side. Lovely evening here by the banks of the Lee. Oh, it's well bowled. That'd be a good ball to an opener, but to a man who comes in at number 11, that just cut him in two. 162 for 9 at the end of 17.
Well, I'm going to have to go up and apologise to Amish Sidhu. He's actually batted very well for his 8 off his 10 deliveries. He's played sensibly. He's tried to hit when he can. But other than that, even with good balls, he's tried dropping them down to third. He's done very well. However, his team needing 75 from 3 overs at 25 and over. Well, even if they hit every ball for 4 now, they're going to finish short.
Well, Tom Mays has obviously finished his spell there. You can see the bottom right-hand corner. 4 overs, 4 for 28. Got rid of the top 3 as well. Tim Tector, Seamus Lynch and Adam Rossley. Van Voorkom. That should be the end of the match. Straight down the throat of Mays, right in front of us. And he's had a very good game, finishing off with a nice catch down in front of us here at long off. And that ends the contest. All out for 162. And a comprehensive win in the end by 74 runs, having clocked up a huge total. Second highest in IP20 history of 236. They're out in the 18th over. Sidhu made 8. Wilson left undefeated on 0.
Big brave shot, but it picks out Tom Mays. He makes no mistake, and without fanfare, the Knights can now enjoy their evening, knowing they've points on the board. Whereas Leinster, I feel, will have to sit down and have a chat. I mean, in fairness to Leinster, 162 any other day is a very reasonable score, but not when you're chasing 236, 237 to win.
We will have our man of the match presentation. If you want to watch that, it'll be up on the social media platforms for Cricket Ireland. That'll be coming in just a little bit later on. But the Knights winning comprehensively by 74 runs to add to the Warriors' win in the opening match against the Munster Reds. Very good day here at the Mardyke for this game. These 2 games. Plenty of runs in the second match in particular. And an exciting day's cricket. I certainly enjoyed it.
Oh, very much so. 2 very contrasting games. But what a good way to start off a 3-day festival. There are plenty of big hits for the crowd, plenty of wickets for the connoisseurs, and 2 good games of cricket. Well, there's the Northern Nights story, and you can see Pretorius and Adair, well, they put on 90 for the first wicket, and that was the base then that Topping and Rock just launched their attack from. 57 off 30 and 79 off 26. Well, Neil Rock, he's had a super day as captain, despite having lost the toss. Good partnerships all the way through. Certainly the partnership between Topping and Rock, well, 116, and it came in just 43 balls. But it was that basis start from Pretorius and Adair that got the Northern Nights off to a good start, and every wicket brought a partnership.
Leinster Lightning, their bowling figures. Barry McCarthy was the pick of them, 4 for 24. Didn't take a wicket though, but the rest of them outside. Well, yes, everybody else got a bit of tap, of course, because that's the second highest score in IP20 history. That's 263.
Well, in reply, the Leinster Lightning, well, they fired in sporadic periods. Mark Donegan coming in at number 5. He saw plenty of partners after that. And then, well, when Sidhu found Mays on the boundary, it was almost a mercy catch, and that was enough. The partnerships, well, Ford and Donegan, they gave hope, and at one stage the Leinster Lightning worm was definitely above the Northern Nights. But as you can see, once that partnership was broken, 8-4, 8-13, 15 and 3, it kind of fell away, and that was the end of that.
Bowling figures, 2 for the new man, Van Voorkorm, who made his debut today, so he'd be pleased with that. 2 for 19. Mays the pick of them, 4 for 28 from his 4, and also taking that final catch and wickets for Pretorius, and a fine bat from him too. Cohen didn't take any. Foster and Humphreys the other wickets to fall. So the match summary then, Northern Nights making that second highest total of 236 for 3, and they bowled the Leinster Lightning out for 163 from 17.1 overs. So 74-run victory then for the Knights. That's just about it. Hope you enjoyed our coverage today. The matches tomorrow, by the way, is the Lightning against the Warriors at 11 o'clock, and then the Reds against the Knights at 3:30. If you want to hear the man of the match interview, well, do check out the Cricket Ireland social media platforms for the interview with our player of the match. Hope you enjoyed our coverage. We're looking forward to much more again tomorrow from Craig Senior and also from Stephen Alkin. I'm John Kenny, and from the rest of the crew here at a sunny Mardyke, it's bye for now.